we exist, which has been a while. Oh, don't people on there. Boop. Oh, and I'll let you guys know. Might as well. Just so you know what the title is. Because usually it's a hint.
Heading forth into Reidai.
And this is when you don't. Ah, forget it. We're going the other way. Well, make me a liar then.
And it kind of depends on how good this lady's offer is on whatever's wrong with her space station.
Yeah, that's true.
Not this one, but the other one. And there we go. How many stars are there in the universe, author? Countless. Countless millions. Or are there stars without numbers? No. Every star is numbered.
We just haven't counted that part yet.
But yes, hello. This is the Electric Metropolis video game tour. I'm AD Springer, also known as Corbinian. And we're back playing Traveler 5 after a couple weeks off. Hope everyone's had a nice break away from this craziness and insanity. And we finally get a chance to blow up their ship. I mean, see their ship do more stuff, you know. So and nothing bad will happen to it. Everything will be fine.
With the stuff we've got on board, yeah, nothing will happen to it.
Should have bought an insurance policy.
Do we not?
And if anything does happen to the ship, we're just playing a different game.
I don't think we can afford the premium on an insurance policy for a $600 million ship.
Fair. Something to do once we invest in that mining company.
It is 1111 of Imperial Reckoning of the Third Imperium. The Third Imperium is in the height of its golden age, enjoying the rulership of Emperor Stefan Elia Alkalakoi. Long may he reign. It has been a full year since the armistice ended the Fifth Frontier War between the Jordani Consulate and the Third Imperium. With a return to status quo de jure, but de facto, the Sword Worlds Confederation have lost many of its worlds to become a new Imperial client state, formed in the aftermath. A year of post-bellum in the Spinward Marches sector has seen a dynamic shift of recovery, renewal, and opportunity for many a traveler to benefit from, not the least of which the lifting of the sector-wide amber status by the Travelers' Aid Society. Between the interests of the mentalist Jordani, the Imperials with their Darien Confederation allies, seeking to uphold their self-appointed warrant of restoration, and the fiercely independent sword worlders, the will of humanity is made manifest in courts of high pageantry, to the respectable private courts of TAS member lounges, to courts low and dark of spacer bars. Among the million stars, we focus upon one particular world at the edge of Darien Confederation space, Ectron. A normally unremarkable little place, but it is, in fact, where our journey continues. We look into the confines of the starship, the Void Gazer, I believe it is, if I'm not mistaken. The players have pre-rolled their intuition, so they actually know. We actually remember to do that ahead of time. Go us.
We're learning.
So, Calcian, Iblith, Arctos, and Calvir meet aboard the ship, docked at the tiny little regional starport that Ektron manages to maintain on this rather sparse world. What is it you do?
GM, do you mind if we jump back just a sec? Because the episode where Tarbin wasn't here, he was getting a wafer jack implanted on Darien, and I was going to buy a couple of wafers before we left. Do you want to work that out, or?
Sure, we can have a minor flashback of Tarbin having his wafer
Brain
jack,
scrambled.
his brain scrambled, because you have the wafer jack installed into your head, the sort of
Yep.
giant mnemonic style thing that's kind of bolted into your head to slip in different skills, as I recall.
Yeah. And we had gotten an advanced one, which will give me +1 on sanity rolls. So yeah, I need to be sure and buy wafers that are match my genetic code, which basically is SEDITS, training instead of education.
That'd be something you could get from a place as advanced as Darien, especially as cosmopolitan and xenophilic as it is.
Okay.
That wouldn't be too hard.
Right. So I'd like to buy one on, if possible, ancient archaeology, like archaeology of the ancients.
Mm-hmm.
If I can find something that specific, also if I could find something specific enough of like the archaeology of the Ursai diaspora, which may be too nitty gritty.
You could get something as generic as archaeology to cover a
Okay.
variety of things. If you wanted to get
Okay.
more specialized, you could. You would say like World Ursa or the Durian. But really, something like archaeology would really cover that.
Okay.
You just have to roll high, basically.
So let's do that, and then what do you guys think kind of emergency ship-based wafers might be handy? Should I get one for like astrogation?
We Neok Inn has astrogation, so I don't know if you want to like risk brain damage for that.
Well, I mean, this would be. I mean, this is the kind of like emergency pack wafer I'm talking about. Like computers are down, Neokin's unconscious. You know, the emergency. We've got to figure out a way to get back to wherever we're going. That's the kind of emergency wafer setup I'm talking about.
In that case, I would suggest programmer or computers, because if we're in a place where the computers can't help us, astrogation does become a problem, but almost everything becomes a problem.
Okay.
And fixing that would solve a lot more problems.
So, if I'm recalling right, computers is basically like finding stuff through a GUI kind of thing, whereas programming is actually getting computers to do stuff. Because they're two separate skills.
Yeah.
I think there's more than two that cover this.
Skill list.
Computers include the operation of office equipment, including computers, information processors, graphics processors, duplicators, and scanners.
So that's more basic operation. Sounds like. And then programming is probably.
You want electronics, I think.
Getting back to the skill list. There it is. Or the detailed skill list, I should say. Thank you out there for the subscription continuation. Thank you very much.
Programmers are skilled in the process and procedures of programming devices to correctly accomplish their functions. I think electronics is like a knowledge, technically.
Concerned with the devices based on electron flow, signal processors, controllers, sensors associated with the electromagnetic spectrum. Skilled in maintenance, repair, and construction of electronic devices. Conveys an understanding of the principles of the device construction and repair.
It includes activities within the assembly and maintenance of computers and consoles. Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
that was kind of my thought on why electronics would be for the repairing, right? Programming is not going to be an issue if the computers are down. It's going to be probably an electronics thing.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see. Anything else anybody can think of that might be super handy in an emergency? We may not have the existing skills for.
I can't think of anything in particular, just because I think we got
The
most
on-
of the relevant skills covered with
I-
other people.
Yeah, I would say because you have all of the major engineering knowledges and skills, right?
Yeah,
like J
I mean,
drive and P drive and all that.
yeah,
kind of
everything
stuff.
that falls under engineer. But now I don't have a lot of the like electronics doesn't fall.
Yeah, I
under
know.
that.
I know you don't have a lot
Yeah,
of the craftsman
yeah.
skills. The only two things that really come to mind would be, right, if you're looking for something else and we get into a solution where computer repair is not possible, then astrogation and gunner.
So, by the way, are you getting like a single skill wafer, or like an emergency
Yeah, that's
personality
what
wafer?
that's what I'm thinking of here is a single
Okay.
skill wafer for these. I don't really want my personality to be overridden. I just need emergency skills.
Right.
What page is the wafers on?
258, 259 of book 2.
Yeah, I love they say that their third type is entertainment wafers, but they don't describe it. Is that just like you plug it in and you're in a
Watch
movie?
a movie in your brain.
Yeah,
In your brain.
it's a super immersive VR experience basically, and you just live through somebody pretending or actually experiencing something, as the case may be.
Wow, there's a whole episode of Babylon 5 about that, except it was a psionic drug.
That's half the plot of Cyberpunk 2077.
Uh-huh.
That's what happens when you play with experimental emergency personality wafers.
So yeah, right now I've got archaeology, electronics, astrogation, and gunnery. Is that what it's called?
Yeah, because you don't have to attach it to a knowledge, right? You can just get the gunner skill. And the thought on that is, oh no, I may correct myself. Screens, I think, is what you want. I was thinking because the black globe is in a turret that it was gunner
Screens.
turrets, but
Okay.
it's screens. That way, if we lose the computer, between you and me, we'll have someone who can operate the screens and someone who can operate the gun.
Well, but if I can buy the wafer with gunner, which includes screens.
Oh, gunner! I didn't realize screens was in gunner. I thought it was
Yeah.
okay. Yeah, then gunner, because then you'll be able to do right. We have 2 different weapon systems, so
Okay. So yeah, wafer for archaeology, electronics, astrogation, or wafers rather for archaeology, electronics, astrogation, and gunner. Single skill wafers.
and I think the company would be willing to reimburse you for all this, but I don't know if you would need or want that because you may want to own the
Let's-
chips.
Let's see what the
But I think you
price
have
tag.
twice as much money as the company does.
Because I'm a very clever bear.
Also because the company spent a lot of money.
I like the clever bear answer.
It can be both.
Yeah,
Or-
give me both.
Another thing we could do is
I also
we could,
have this picnic basket.
we could issue dividends to the shareholders to help you buy it, right? Then you don't owe the company.
So you can get a standard wafer set to as low as, if you want a standard one, you can get anywhere between single skill wafer 13. So whatever that skill is at 13.
Mm.
And it can go up to 16. And the way it works for that is that you also, if a skill has knowledges included, you get one such knowledge at level 6. And most knowledges are at max out at 15.
Right.
Or max skill is 15, yeah.
Right.
You only really bother with something past wafer 15 or TL 15 if you're getting a full personality wafer, because then you have a wide amount of skills that you need to kind of figure out what that wafer has. But if you're doing a single shot, 15 and lower is what you need, or what you'd use.
I think you probably want to go for a tech level 16 advanced wafer 13. Because then
Yeah, you
then
get an easy sand check
sanity
once at the
checks.
end. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not per use or per day.
Yep.
So you're thinking improved wafer, because you could get an improved wafer, especially on friggin'
I think he's thinking 2 steps ahead of that. Advanced wafer 13.
advanced
Yeah.
wafer 13. Oh, yeah, you can get that totally. Yeah.
Okay.
That would be so 13 times 20,000.
I was told there'd be no math.
Well, that's why I have a calculator for.
That's 260,000
260,000 each. Okay. It's times.
So
4?
you're looking at just over $1 million.
Yeah, we can do that.
Because you're getting 4 skills, right?
Yeah, at
Yeah,
a high level. Yeah.
1.04 million.
Yeah.
Is the bear buying or is the company buying?
I'll buy.
All right.
And these are advanced TL13.
I think
Well,
there's probably like at like megacorps, like today we have like school reimbursement programs at some corporations. In the future, I guess they have like skill
Advanced.
wafer reimbursement.
These would be, by the way, just as a quick interjection, the advanced wafer 13 is a TL 16 wafer.
Oh, right.
But yeah, I could totally see I make a corporation going, a common trick being like, here, have a skill wafer. It belongs to the company, not you, and you have to give it back. And it's like, or you can try to reimburse and buy it from us, but it's like the kind of money you'd need to buy one. And then if you try to leave the company, you don't take any skills with you because you were chipped.
Yeah.
A common strategy in Shadowrun. They pull exactly that strat.
Yeah, I
Well,
definitely was not thinking of anything like that at all.
Yeah, there was, and it's totally, a corporate thing to do because you make the employee take all the risk.
Mm-hmm.
Because, you don't offer them the mental health insurance before you have.
Sure you
offer
do.
them
Just
that.
you give it at a premium. Or it's one of the
Would
perks.
you ever need to use this?
Yeah, we haven't got this stage yet. I imagine there's probably some like binder in Calcian's cabin that's like writing out employee insurance programs and wafer programs.
For some reason, your resident hiver, Niaken, is very cautious of any weird workers' abuse things.
That's why we hired him. So when we did abuse our workers, it would look legitimate.
Facts.
No.
We have a union rep. How could we be a bad company?
We allow one to exist. I mean, we have one. We have one.
Yeah, I do find it kind of funny that we have a union rep, but also almost all of our crew members that aren't shareholders are Ursine, so they probably would go to Tarbin, a shareholder, before the union rep.
Spoken like a capitalist. Oh, by the way, author says hi, Iblif, and apparently the Gungnir was nearly blown up.
Yeah. 5 out of 6 structure wounds.
Don't bring that here.
Excuse you, I was not on the Gungnir at the time. I had nothing to do with it.
That's what his lawyer wants you to believe, anyway.
We pay for his lawyer. Oh, I didn't write that down, did I? Under our liability, it's 100,000 on 2/13, 11/12 is the day our retainer has to be renewed, according to the pin.
The pin should
Okay.
be accurate, yeah.
Thanks.
Well,
Gia.
I might have gotten confused if we're in 11/11 or 11/12.
I said 11. You're in the 11 still, so
Okay.
it's you don't pay until next year. Because 2 and 3 of this year is when you hired them, is when you contracted them. All accounts settled for Tarbin Mnemonic.
Yes. I believe so.
All right, so you're aboard your ship. You're meeting once more.
I think Calvir had brought a knight for us to have dinner with.
Is everyone present at that dinner aboard the ship?
Yes.
Yep.
And I will chef that dinner aboard the ship.
I mean, how could I miss out on Tarpin's fabulous cooking?
Exactly.
Because if you do, he'll kill you. I mean, eat you. I mean, be upset with
Hey,
you.
once again, how could I miss out on Tarpin's fabulous cooking?
Oh. Hold on, I just realized people can't see who's talking at the moment. It's been a bit. Don't mind me. But what is it that you prepare?
Food for the people.
Very meaty, very veggie, very saucy, extravagant, Spartan.
Well, it's kind of the first dinner we're hosting aboard the ship for a dignitary. So yeah, let's go multi-course, nothing that's, a meal that will leave everybody full and satisfied, but not feeling, like they need to be rolled home. Capped off with some really good coffee from that Sword World where they have really good coffee.
Oh yeah, we bought like a lot
From
of it.
Peter. Yeah.
I forgot about that. I don't think we put that on the. I guess that's in our 4 tons of provisions because we like paid to have that shipped
Yeah.
along the route with us. I forgot how much it was.
I'll set this as a 2 dice dexterity cooking check.
Okay.
Essentially, something that's difficult, but you've had time to get your ingredients, get prepared. Like you can take your time, so it's a 2 die rather than a 3 die base.
Okay. So that's,
Which I think it goes back up to 3 because you're a bear.
Yeah.
Sorry, Ursine. Bears aren't sapients. Ursine's
And then
Hey, hang on, are there bears and Ursine? Or did all the bears?
Do you want to argue with
Ursine?
Do you want to argue with the bear about that? I don't want to.
No,
No.
I mean like in game lore, is that a thing?
There are
well-
non-sapient bears, and then there's the Ursine people.
Right.
and there are
Ah.
2 types of Ursine.
Yeah.
One that's about human sized and one that's twice the
Grizzly
size of
bear.
a human. Yeah.
Yeah.
You might argue for a +1 because we have the specialized galley.
I
Well,
would
I
take
get a +1 because it's a life pursuit as well.
I'll take the additional +1 on top of that. That makes sense.
Okay. So that's going to be with life pursuit. That's 5 plus 12, 7, so 18 total on 3. Dice 3.
It's not okay. Go ahead. I believe 8 hits it. There
Yep.
we go. There. Now they can see who's talking. Has it been a long road getting from there to here? God damn it. They're not flying away from the planet yet, so I can't sing. Also,
It's
I
been
gotta
a long road getting from bear to here. As an
get
Ursine.
away
There
with
we go.
you. You poison everyone. Everyone dies. Make new characters. Except for the bear, it goes to a circus.
You're vengeful
Don't-
today.
Don't bait me.
But yeah, you meet with the lady or Dame Zirmir of Ektron, who seems rather pleased to be aboard the ship. Partially because it's a very comfortable ship. You have a pleasant galley, a pleasant dining area. You have all the accommodations and accoutrements available. The food is very nice. Much better than what it's about. It's not on par. Well, it's on par with what she would get, if not better. Because she's a noble of standing, so she does have some. She has skilled cooks at her, and a skilled chef at her estate, but not at the unlikely to be at the tier of Tarbin on a day-to-day basis. This is quite a pleasant encounter for her. I believe she's only met one of you at this before today. If I'm not mistaken. I believe it was just Calvier.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, Professor, would it be too much to ask of you with whom I have the pleasure of dining with?
Of course, these are my crewmates. May I introduce the noble Sir Calcian Langhoff, the most venerable Tarban Arctos, and Iblifatil of the Jordani planets.
You leave the title off on purpose, or is that an accident?
Iblifatil is it does include your title. Atil is your title.
Oh, that's right, because it's a...
It's just that some people say
Jordani.
Baronet Iblifatil in Anglic because they don't know better. They don't know that you can.
Yeah.
That
Yeah,
covers it.
a lot of us call you
Because
Baron
Jordani is
Iblis
a silly
Baron.
language.
Zermir kind of nods respectfully at Calcian, especially since you outrank her within, but you're from a different planet, but still nice to respect a noble, because you're both part of the same government, essentially, on a interstellar sense. She smiles at Tarbin. She glances at Iblifatil and then does a slight nod, acknowledging his presence. Also, that he's a baronet, so on the social standing thing scale of things, a knight picking a fight with a baronet is not a good look unless you have a really good reason. This food is quite nice.
Ah, thank you very much. I do so enjoy both cooking and watching people enjoy a good meal.
Don't let Tarbin not sell himself. He's certified on several Darien planets.
Are you? Do you mind if I ask to what degree? This is quite good.
I currently hold a... what is it? Wasn't the master, it was the one below.
Experienced?
Yeah. I currently hold an experienced certification, which I hope to increase in short order. However, I concentrated at the time on getting my master pilot's certification. I served several roles on board.
She's happily eating as she's talking to people because the food is good. So she's you get the feeling she's making sure to talk because that's what you're supposed. That's the polite thing to do at a dinner like this. So, go ahead, Baronet.
Calcian wants to nudge the conversation over the course of a few minutes to the topic of the irradiated space station. Just like, your moon was nice, and you have a nice system, and what about this space station that's irradiated?
Well, from what I've heard, it's a bit of an issue. It seems that there was a leak in one of the containment units in the Star City, and it's proven to be an issue that hopefully the staff there will be able to rectify in due course.
Does it fall under your jurisdiction or your counts?
She looks about the room a little bit and then seems to think no harm in mentioning it, sort of thing. Like, she doesn't mind airing issues to non-Darien. And she says, well, it falls largely to myself if it requires my direct intervention. But at present, I'm allowing the relevant authorities to deal with it on their own before it requires my detailed eye. Because the failures of if it's found to be a mechanical failure, then it is simply something to be replaced, and the inspector responsible is held to the recourses of the Confederation. If it was found to be... I suppose the short answer to that is it depends on who's the most responsible, and if they solve it themselves, then the punishment will be a lot lighter. If I'm required to intervene, then I'm bound by the codes of our Confederation to instill professional standard. I'm sure you understand, Baronet.
That is the goal of the technocracy, to ensure professional standards across all strata.
But if the radiation goes on for too long, then, well, I will have to intervene one way or the other, since it's within my realm of responsibility. I won't have any choice. For their sake, I hope they figure it out.
Well, if in any way LatVG shipping can help, just let us know.
Is Calcian attempting to get work from this? Or are you just seeing if on chance she feels like it?
More of on chance, because I guess from a negotiating tactic perspective, I don't want her to think I need her. I want her to think that she needs me. Right. Because I don't actually need this job, so I definitely do not want to take the inferior negotiating position on this.
So, personal interaction. You're not so much persuading her to give you the job. You're just asking her if there is something that you like. Is there a chance that you could be? Like,
Yeah,
what kind of work
very
is there
unique.
available? So that's 2 dice. You're discussing it. I think. I don't think you're appealing to or actively listening per se. You're just chatting about it. There's a multiplier here of ×2. From a, I would imagine anyway.
Familiarity.
Familiarity, yeah, that's where my head went as well. You actually come from a superiority law because you outrank her. You're a baronet, she's a knight, so +1 for that. So 2 × 2, 4, 4 + 1, 5.
Yeah. Oh no. I said something I shouldn't have said again. I would like to use luck to just maybe hopefully just fail this and not like
Offend her.
start a war.
Hey, you can roll luck. You might fire.
It did not.
Oh no.
Perhaps, Baronet Langhoff, it would be appropriate of you to examine your planets and holdings responsibilities and I to mine. I think that'd be most appropriate, yes?
Carbon will try and smooth things over by pouring more wine and redirecting the conversation to more appropriate matters for that. That's the food, her current initiatives that she's sponsoring, her dements. Just trying to kind of smoothly step in and pour oil on some waters.
Easily done, because thankfully it was just a 2d6 two
Right.
box. It's just an auto fail. If it was 3 6s, she probably would have stormed out of the room. Or you might have inadvertently implied she was negligent or something like that. And it's like, well, hold on, you can't do that. But she just doesn't want to tell you. But yeah, it's easily smoothed over. Immediately she lets it go. She just isn't going to tell you. And I'll highlight for Calcium that her response is a bit hostile, but legally she's in her rights. This star system is her domain, and unless she's found to be woefully negligent or incompetent, she's the arbiter of what happens here. And she may not want you to be seen as someone who's over her or trying to take her holdings. Basically, she's trying to protect herself from what she's protecting her subordinates from. But the conversation steers away fairly easily. Most of her concern about this, most of her initiatives regarding Actron, largely she's concerned with keeping up the mining, ensuring that she stays abreast of what's going on throughout the Confederation. But only in so much that it is as required of a knight, like if she's being called to duty or if there's some sort of threat she needs to be worried about. But generally you get very quickly find out that she's an administrator and inspector for the area. Like she's like most of her holdings, her personal holding is her estate and the various things that she manufactures there. But the system as a whole, she's just administrating over. She's just there to ensure that everyone pays their taxes, the law's being followed, and people are not being, in the Darien sense, focus, they're not dangerously incompetent or badly appointed.
Okay.
Oh, and I don't think you were here when we learned this, but this is a Tech 9 world.
Yeah, I'm looking at the breakdown on the traveler map. With a 10% population of Aslan.
Yep, there's some Aslan that live here.
So yeah, when she says that her manufacturing interests, that's like spears, and
Right.
I guess not quite as low tech as spears, but it's close.
That'd be her thing. Is like she'd be the one who's doing that sort of thing and selling it off to other planets or whatnot.
I mean, it's anti-gravity technology. It's you know.
Yeah, they had
perspective. It's
they,
pretty advanced.
They had like an early grav lifter or whatever, and that's how. That's one of the ways that Calcium was going to try to get around. But it was going to take like a month to travel by their grav lifters.
And she's given us permission to survey the asteroid belt if we want and keep the mining rights.
Yeah, which is not like a highly negotiated thing that we had to really struggle to get. That
Right.
was more like she's all right with it, almost because she didn't care.
Because most of the area has been surveyed already, but it's like if you find something, like any new mining interest that is installed is more tax dollars that she gets to process.
Right.
You know, the Confederation is better off with more, but she doubts there's anything more to find.
Yeah, I mean, one day it might be might not be the worst idea at some point if we needed to, just because our sensors might be able to pick up.
Yeah, I was looking forward ahead to our next resource unit, which is coming up if we survive. And I was thinking, let's buy a mining company.
Because its resource level is D, so there are a lot of resources in the system. So,
Yeah.
But,
so
okay.
I think there's a lot of future interest for us here, but there's like nothing critical at the moment.
Let's come back later with the mining company we've acquired and do a full survey.
Right.
We could do the survey now. It's just it would take time, and
Yeah.
I would rather pay someone else to do it.
That's fair. It's understandable.
Besides, there's
on our
probably
list right
so
now.
much more wealth for us at 3227.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Or death, whatever.
Hey, if we
Minimal.
die, it's not our problem.
And also the big gap between her and the local tech level is that she as a knight can afford or order abroad for like tech level 16 stuff if she really wants to, whereas the locals are limited to the tech level that they have. So it's like, well, you only need so much. You don't need that much tech to mine stuff. So go mining. We'll rebel against you. Good luck with that. The tech level difference between us is huge.
Oh, that's how to take over her planet, is to come in and set up a manufacturing concern that displaces her monopoly.
You doing corporate takeovers of planets now?
We're a corporation now. We do those kinds of things. Not right now. We don't have the wealth.
So where's your next destination?
Say it's in the Redanian subsector. We're going to be visiting one of the nearby planets. In fact, you're welcome to join us. We have spare accommodations.
Carbon chuffs in delight and kind of claps his paws and goes, yes. Back to surveying the relatively unknown. It's been a long time since I was in the South Scout Service, but I have to admit, my appetite for discovery has been whetted by this opportunity to go into the Spinward section. So few have preceded us. Who knows what may await us there?
And there's another thing that's important to mention to Tarbin, that the shareholders know what we're doing. The non-shareholders do not.
Okay.
I think
I don't think.
Iblith does know because he was at the meeting
Oh.
that we're going after the Dorian artifact. The non-shareholders only know we're going to 3227. They don't know about the artifact.
Okay. I don't think I said anything there that trips that
No,
up.
that's the only reason I mentioned it, so that
Okay.
you might not mention it.
Well, it's entirely. Well, I have to say, I am interested in the idea of being part of an expedition. Although, I did catch something there. I'm kind of curious. Tarbin, you said you were part of a scout service. Which one?
The Imperial Interstellar Scouts.
Oh. Have you explored this arm of the galaxy before?
No, I was actually fortunate enough to be part of the Empire's Coreward expeditions.
She glances among the four of you and then seems very pensive about her drink and then sips at it.
It's honestly where I picked up, at least began my career as a chef. A lot of time alone or with small crews, and hobbies are always important, not to mention making the most that one can out of sometimes limited rations that the scout service are provided with.
Yeah, it can
Amazing
be
what some spices can do.
that the Scout Service and the Imperial Navy, their loss is Latvici's gain with Tarbin.
Well, it sounds like you are well equipped both in personnel and technology. So I doubt that your journey will fail from either of the most important things. But unfortunately, I doubt I'd be able to get leave to have someone replace my duties here. I am the only noble standing within this star system, and with the irradiation, I still have to stay here in case I am required to be involved. She looks visibly disappointed as she eats her food. Like, she seemed very interested and then immediately realized, oh crap, I can't.
Dang it, I have responsibilities.
It's like, I work here, damn it.
Yeah, Calcian's confused because he has a knighthood and a baronet and never goes to either of them, just uses them as a cash farm.
Well, he has I won't make you roll for this. The general thing is that some noble, you're not pursuing actively your noble career as much as she is. Like, she's not a traveler, she's a noble. So she's probably in the middle of some scheme or another to advance her interest, or maybe get elevated, maybe become the baronet or the count of the entire star system. Whereas you're not as focused on that. You're focused on being a traveler, and it's like, if you have to get elevated, that's great. If not, that's not really your focus. But in your case in particular, it's a lot easier to get away with that because you have you have a noble above you and likely other knights that work on your planet. Whereas she's the highest ranked noble in the entire star, in all of Ectron. There is no count for this place, or baron.
Yet. That's my scheme. I had no other agenda other than a night with a fellow Darien noble.
Yeah,
I'm good. Gave me a chance to cook.
Any social ploys by Iblifatil or Calvier?
None of mine, no.
Social no. A question that he would have asked before this dinner.
Mm-hmm.
Did they want any information through Iblif's talents?
No.
Fortune?
This is why I asked first.
Not on a Darien noble.
That is a very Jordani thing to ask. Like, hey, because among Jordani, it is perfectly natural to read each other's minds if you're a noble. But other species tend to frown on it for some silly reason. They have something to hide. It's weird.
Yeah.
Weird.
Our like
Why would you keep secrets?
our 2 rules as a company are not don't screw over other company members and don't do illegal things within the Tarian Confederation, because this is the only place we can get our ship repaired reasonably effectively.
Fair, yeah. Well, like I said, he would have asked ahead of time, so with that and Iblif's knowledge that Darien probably doesn't like him very much, he would have just enjoyed a very lovely meal.
You can give me 3 dice intelligence to get a gauge on how Zermir views you.
Oh, okay, cool. So that's 3 to... And that's just straight intelligence, right? There's no, like, skills attached to it?
Unless there's some skill you think would help here.
Not really, no. Okay. 3d6, looking for 8. Hey!
Yeah. You very much, while talking to her, you're not really reading her mind actively. It's just more a general feel, her demeanor, and a little bit of your sonic ability, because it's kind of hard to shut it off completely. It's like closing your eyes or plugging your ears. You can
vibe,
do it. It's just hard to do.
So to say.
Huh?
The vibes, basically. So
Yeah. You definitely don't sense any sort of veteran animosity or martial wariness. It's the wariness most people have around Jordani, who aren't Jordani. Is the Scion reading my mind? She would know that you, as educated as she likely is, as a Darien noble, she would know that you're a Scion, because all nobles of Jordani nobles are Scions. But other than that wariness, she has no particular hatred for you. She's actually largely indifferent. And respectful of your rank. Like, she respects in the general social standing sense that you outrank her in the wider interstellar thing. So she's being polite. So she, during the dinner, she doesn't engage you unless you speak to her, because she's a guest and you outrank her. So there's a lot of times where she doesn't reach out to even Calcian because she's waiting for him to speak first.
Ah, well, this is a refreshing change.
Yeah, this is why Calcian wanted this dinner, because this is a civilized person who understands how society works.
Also,
And,
Ektron is far from the front line, so it never really saw action. It's a lot of mining. Like, the war was good for her mining business, because, well, they need tons of material. But other than that, no one was attacking Ektron. It's not strategically important. Or it is, but it's not near the front line, rather, because most of the focus was on the Imperium, less the Darien.
Yeah.
Because attacking the Darien and their systems is usually a fool's errand, because you run into high-tech starports.
Consider it a bad idea, unless you have, like, a lot of those, like, spooky psychic cruisers.
Yeah. Yeah, eventually, Dame Zermir takes her leave and returns to her estate.
Hey, Jim,
Y'all,
what are our AI's names?
you tell me.
Okay, I didn't know if we got to.
don't think we named
So
them
I thought about doing that because the book does give ways to generate names, but
Ooh,
I
fair.
didn't know like if the GM was going to do that. But there is a page for this. We could.
What page is that? In book?
It's going to be in the making the section. So you're looking at 273 book 2.
273.
And we would be looking.
273.
We'd want to roll, I think, on the well-established computer manufacturers and the exotic computer models.
Well, Savage Computer Manufacturer is 3.
So industrial, that's probably Darien.
Yeah.
Darien Computers model. And then for the numbers, you roll 1D digits.
1 digit. So 4.
So Darien Computers Model 4 is the first one, at least. They're probably the same model because we bought them at the same time to do the same job.
Yeah.
Okay, but these are artificial intelligences, right? These are sentient computers.
Yep.
So what are their names? That's what I'm asking.
You can
Do
call
they
them.
have the concept of name?
Yeah, you can call them. Some people come up with nicknames. They might come out. You might address them as, in short, you might call them Mod 4.
Um,
Or
Oh, they
Tarman?
also
because they're AI. They care about efficiency more than anything. It's like Mod 4
Right.
and Mod 4.1. To differentiate Mod 4.1, Mod 4.2, because there's two of them. They're related. To put
they
it that way.
also
But
have a type, which I think is, if I can find. So they are Model 8 BISs also. So that's like the type of computer, not the manufacturer.
Right.
But like, if in general, mainframe 1, I tried to assign general bridge responsibilities, and Model 8 is general engineering responsibilities. So if you were gonna individualize them, it might be like DC Model 4 bridge and DC Model 4 engineering.
If you ask for like suggestions from names from them, from the manufacturer, like a nickname that would be easy to, that sounds natural to say around a Darien machine.
No. If I'm going to ask, I'm going to ask these sentient computers what nicknames they would like, if there's anything they prefer to be called.
Yeah, like ask them, please provide a personalized designation or something like that. Because they probably don't care, but you're asking them to give you a shorthand, right?
Yeah, I mean, if they're fundamentally electronic sophons, so from Tarbin's perspective, they need names.
Met and Tall.
Met and Tall, metal, ha ha ha.
What are you laughing at? It's perfectly natural names in Darien. We don't get the joke.
Okay.
Oh, that's the joke. We get it now.
It's
an Anglic joke. Got it.
So you said you had one of them basically on the bridge and one for engineering and support.
Yeah, you can see that in the on the sheet.
Okay.
I'll add their names.
Also, it was sheer chance. I chose those. I made a list of Darien names, and then I was like, oh, what's really short, efficient names instead of the big long ones. I was like, oh, there's two of them, Met and Tall. Oh,
Yeah,
I
cool.
get it. The computers probably did it, and think they're very funny.
Yeah, I gave Met's the one that's largely responsible for on the non-danger setting, is largely responsible for running the ship from the bridge, and Toll is largely running the engineering spaces.
Okay.
And in danger mode, it's Met that uses the weapons and the screens, and Toll takes over some of the sensing responsibilities.
Okay. Just didn't want to start off by, making our sentient computers grumpy.
Yeah, I spent a lot of time on our journey to this planet making sure them and the programmer were getting in good.
Okay.
Last thing you want is a murderous AI.
Yeah,
Control
also
the
because
ship.
the AIs have a significant amount of influence over Tarbin's like quality of work life, because that's who issues Tarbin with most of his like work tickets, right? To fix broken things.
Yeah, just fix this bit on the outside of the ship. Why are we going into warp? Ah!
Then I guess well, Calcian, as the dinner's finishing up and she's left, Calcian will consult Calvir and Tarbin on whether we want to take a month to travel around the rings, because I don't know what the exact time GM is, but I figure it's something close to that, right? It's not 2 or 3 days to survey the whole system? Because
You say that. One second.
we actually, it takes us only like a day or so to travel to the 100D limit, but also then you'd travel the whole circumference of the system scanning the belt, right?
Well, and keep in mind we have sensors with really nice ranges.
Yeah, but you're right, that's something to double check. I guess we need to know how far out the asteroid belt is and how long it is.
There are a couple of them that range out. The one, as she suggests, is the one furthest out, because that's the one that, because the closer one is the one she already would have covered. So you're looking at traveling some significant distance, but you're going from 0.2 AU from the star to like 40 AU.
I'm trying to figure out. Deep space has a specific range that it refers to. I'm just trying to figure out what that range is.
As for time of survey, normally surveying planets and stuff takes considerable time, because you go by world hex by world hex. Because one thing to get there, it's one thing and then it's another to survey in detail what precisely is there, what's hidden, what's not. And that gives you, and you do like each 1,000-kilometer hex at a time to learn what's going on. Whereas when you're doing an asteroid belt, you can very quickly cover a variety of asteroids in one scan, in one survey, because they're not that big, they're not that huge, they're all fairly small. So you can do them in batches. So you would take a day to get there, and I would say each check would take about...
How many? I think I found the answer. How many AUs did you say it would take to get there?
You're at about 0.2 AU, you're going out to 40, so 39.8 AU.
Okay, never mind. I was looking at our sensors to see if they could reach out to 40 AU. They can reach out to 2.8 AU.
Which is still pretty respectable.
Yeah, that's 400
yeah.
million miles.
Yeah,
kilometers, but
what was
you're
it?
right.
2.8 AU?
Yeah, 2.8 AU.
Yeah,
It's
you
like
can
almost 3 times it from the Earth to the Sun.
You can see the 2 closest gas giants, the nearest asteroid field, and then the one of the nearby ice worlds. Like, you're seeing a lot of the inner system plus a little more, because they're fairly close together. But yeah,
And that's that's none of our important scanners. That's just our visual scanners.
Oh well, okay, yeah. But given if you were to do it in a normal proper survey, to fully survey the entirety of the field and all that's within it in detail, it would take I'd say if you didn't find anything within 10 rolls, that is 10 days of surveying base, then there's nothing to find. You can go faster by doing it hasty, which adds +1 to the roll, +1 die, which cuts the time in half. And if you wanted to cut it in half again, it'd be +2. That's you basically
so-
racing around and scanning very briefly, and then going nope and keep going.
I think we try and do this in 5 days, basically, because it's going to be the mainframes making all the scans, and so they're rolling at a 16. And they get like +4. Which is this a densometer or a deep radar to detect like the material?
Yes.
I think it's a
Um,
deep
so
radar.
are we under any time pressure for the artifact mission on 3227?
No, it's just I don't think
I don't
anyone
think
wants to
so.
sit out in space.
I
don't
mean,
think
yeah, it's
so,
going to
because
take.
they understand that it's going to take a while to launch an expedition to that planet.
Yeah,
So.
he gave no time limit. I mean, he did
well,
give a time limit, but it was like 6 months or something.
We can assume a standard contract time of 3 months before we get something
Okay.
tangible back.
Well,
to
I
them,
mean,
and
then
6
why
months
don't we
until
take
get everything.
Why don't we just take the 10 days? That'll also give us a chance to shake out the sensors and all that stuff. If we do
Alright.
Yeah.
our own.
Or try to rest.
I mean, since we're not rushing necessarily to get there.
Sure, and I think it is a densometer. That's the one you use for ore searching and gas deposits and stuff.
Yeah, I think like deep radar lets you know there's something underground. Densometer lets you kind of guesstimate what it might be.
So yeah, we'll take the 10 days. And so that's 10 rolls of
So how long does it take you to
2d6.
get out to the location?
Hold on.
Because I have to track your day. Because we're close enough to 240 that I need to worry. We need to worry.
You've got a
about it.
maneuver drive 7. Okay.
Yeah, you're zippy.
It's actually. Oh no, it's only 8 in atmosphere. Yeah, but we're not.
Yeah, in atmosphere, we get
7. And then you have to look up. It's good to figure out. It's just complicated to figure out.
GM, you want to just give us like a off the cuff?
I would.
I can find it. It's just going to take me like 5 minutes.
Yeah, we can resolve the roll. I just need to know later for how many days it's going to take you. So because
Okay.
you're doing 10 plus however long plus travel time. So
Right.
you're doing 10 days. And you're just doing it standard speed. You're just taking the full day to do a scan,
Yep.
a thorough survey of a batch of
Yep.
asteroids.
Yep.
And you're getting Met to do some scans.
Yes.
So 10 days plus travel time. Just so I don't forget. Give me roll 1 at. We'll say base dice of 3d6 because you're trying to find stuff that the average person wouldn't have found. You're trying to find stuff that they missed.
Right. So is it just the computers like tech level? So you're just rolling like 16 is your total, or do you
Plus
add
the
some?
mod on the sensor.
Okay, so there's the mod. Okay, so we're looking for a.
But you're looking for no 666s. Because it's 16 plus 4. So you're 18.
Centimeter, so 4. Okay, so
Yeah.
18, just no 3 6s. Okay.
Yeah.
3 dice.
There's something there, but we'll go through the full thing and then I'll figure out what you found.
Yeah, it's probably like Met's collecting the data until we'll analyze it as we go or something.
Day 1, you find something.
Yay! That's a good way to start. Let me just keep.
Yep, you
Oh,
roll, then
great.
I'll roll Flux to see if there's
Okay.
anything there. Because I have to go to a whole chart to figure out what the hell you found.
What? Ooh, that's a failure.
There's something there. Oh, that's a failure?
No, it's on. It's 666s.
Oh,
666
6 is
doesn't-
a failure.
Yep.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah,
there-
I think it's the maximum die roll for each level of dice. That's your critical
Auto fail.
failure.
Okay.
Or it's either that or 3 6s.
Right.
If you're the minute you get 3 or more 6s, you automatically have a spectacular failure.
Right. Sensors blow up.
Day 2, you find something.
Cool.
Nothing on day 3.
Okay.
Or rather, you find stuff, but it's stuff they already know about.
Right.
Oh, something there. Day 4.
Okay. Here's day 5.
Yep. Wow, you're finding a lot, actually.
Hmm.
Oh, no.
That's why we tried to sell her on this, because we knew we had the ship that could pull it off.
That was day 6.
Nothing there.
Okay. That's day 7. Day 8.
Something there.
Day 9.
Something there.
Nice.
And day 10.
Oof.
Yeah.
Something there.
So by my count, that's 8 somethings.
And I'm gonna start pulling up the chart for what you found. For each of those somethings that were positive, like in the flux, just write the number it is. So, like, if I rolled a 2, then roll that. Write that down. That'll tell me how much of the thing you found.
Yeah, let me go back to the top here.
Boo doo doo doo.
1.
Oh, this way.
You're rolling lots of 1s and 2s there.
Yeah, don't remind me. You're supposed to roll negative at some point, you stupid roller.
We rolled a 0 and a -2.
Yeah. We are not seeing the search rolls. You should. They're underneath my head. They'd come up they pop up every time they roll. In what do we call it? This area over here. But there was a lot of them. Like scrolling up, they had to do 10 days worth of rolls. So, click. Okay. Oh, that's what I was looking up. I was looking up what kind of thing you were scanning. It's pretty straightforward. Wait, it is straightforward. What am I doing? It's that. So thing 1. Huh, okay.
There is. Thing 1 had a roll of 1.
You find some strange crystals there.
Ooh.
The next thing you find are iridium sponges. That's super useful, actually. That's fairly
Okay.
Used for making positronic brains.
And that was at a roll of 2.
Oh, that's weird. It should auto scroll. Oh, it doesn't auto scroll. I have to go back. You're right. Yep. The
Strange crystals. The cow kit! Oh my god!
Yeah, that's honestly strange crystals. That was the first thing I thought too.
I've trained people well. The third thing you found was some platinum.
Ooh. We're doing good so far.
That was at a roll of 1.
The next thing more strange crystals.
That is at a roll of 2.
There's one more, I think.
Oh no, there's 4 more.
4 more? Oh, wow.
Found a total of 8 things.
Yeah.
Sorry, I keep forgetting that you did so damn well. You found a cache of various delicacies.
Huh?
Quality delicacies. Like, think foodstuffs.
So there's pirates.
In the asteroid. Oh no.
What?
It's a roll of 2, so there's apparently a fair amount of delicacies. Hey, I'll put them in the
What?
refrigerated hole.
Hang on. We found cured salmon in an asteroid field?
A cache, yeah. Well, it was in a box. They didn't leave it out in the open. I suppose they could. I mean, what's vacuum gonna do to it?
Cured salmon in space.
Rare or unusual foods prepared according to local cultural recipes.
What?
Okay, so we found somebody's foodstuffs.
A significant amount of it too. We'll get to that in a moment.
Yeah, someone
Oh,
packed some pemmican and then dropped into space.
Okay.
Next
okay.
thing.
All right.
Always looking for stuff for the larder.
You found some a cache of fauna samples.
Okay.
Fauna, not flora.
Fauna, yeah.
There are
Feathers and stuff? Or.
like
That was a roll of 1.
we found worms out on this asteroid.
Along with
But
the
yeah,
cured
a
salmon,
cache-
this is unsanitary.
A cache means that like somebody had, like put them in sample jars or something and stored them there.
We found
could
somebody's
be-
butterfly collection in space.
That could be useful for my research, I suppose.
The next thing. More platinum.
That is at a 3.
The next thing. The hell's that?
Uh-oh.
Huh. You find light sensitives, sensors, and reactive substances which respond to various wavelengths of light.
Huh.
Huh.
At least it wasn't a board
That's-
cube, I mean.
I bet that's very useful and hopefully expensive for photonics.
Ah,
was
that's
roll
what before.
2.
Yep, that's 100% what it's for.
That would
Yep.
be it.
That's it.
I think we got a good deal on those mining rights, guys.
Yeah, I think we did.
Except we didn't find much to mine, did we? It's just a lot of stuff floating in space.
Well,
the-
we found, what was it, 2, 3 platinum
yeah,
deposits?
platinum and yellow cake, yeah.
And crystals.
So those
And strange
numbers,
crystals.
those numbers equate to how many hundreds of tons of that you found.
Oh dear.
Oh.
I don't think we can take all that cured salmon and those worms, man.
That's why you would need to mine it and gather it because it's spread out. Because these wouldn't be in like a single asteroid; they'd be like in a certain batch. They'd be scattered across a certain section.
Yeah, so there's a total of 400 tons of platinum we found,
Oh.
200 tons of iridium sponges, 300 tons of strange crystals, 200 tons of delicacies,
I guess the question we need to
200 tons
ask
of light sensitives. So
next to the GM is, what's the going rate on buying a mining company, like a small mining company? They don't need to be big because they don't need multiple system operations. They just need to be.
First things first, fellas. Can we mine just like one of those crystals so I can test what the hell that thing is?
yeah, can we
So
get
know?
samples
Yeah.
of the crystals and the fauna? Yeah, delicacies.
How would you?
Just
How
so
do
I
you?
can-
How do you intend to gather them?
I'll just take this 1 tin of sardines.
I don't suppose we have a tractor beam.
I mean, we have space suits.
Oh, okay. Who wants to go EVA and go get him?
So, the cutter, which only has a cargo capacity of 16 tons,
Yeah, but if we're just getting some samples to play with.
has an firm point that is an advanced medium fusion cannon. So I imagine if whatever we're looking for is near the surface, you would just jump in the cutter, go blast the surface a little bit, and collect the debris.
Probably pretty wasteful. So I guess the first question would be to ask is, I would imagine these caches of supplies and samples were probably fairly accessible, since they obviously have been gathered at some point.
Let's find out together, shall we?
Okay.
In Traveler, there's always a table. Eve to grab some space salmon.
See, you say that, but this table on how to handle maneuver drives is certainly not easy to find.
I'll go with that.
See, my people just sort of go EVA during the spawning season of the space salmon, and we stand like facing spinward because the space salmon migrate like anti-spinward. They migrate towards the trailing edge.
I don't think that's how it works. No way.
And then my people just catch the space salmon.
So these seem to be slightly hard to get to, and slightly hazardous. Like they're not like sitting on it. They're you kind of have to go in a little bit. But as long as you take some level of care, you should be able to get at what you're looking for.
Okay, and that's applies to the crystals as well.
Yeah.
Okay, now first we need to check: is there like a 0G skill? I think there is.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, I see it. Secondly, we need to check: does anyone of us have that skill? That would be a no for me, but I do have Jack of all trades.
Just give me a sample of those crystals so I can see if I know what they are, perhaps.
Well, 0G is a skill itself. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's what I'm thinking. Basically, I'd like to have a sample of the crystals and maybe the fauna for you to study.
See if it's actually worth anything, or do we just ignore it?
Right.
Because it could be just zirconium, and it's like, well, it's not diamonds, is it?
Well, but if it's cubic zirconia, we can sell a lot of housewives a lot of cheap jewelry at an inflated price.
Oh yeah.
Now, what kind of tools would you want to use to extract these things?
Do we have anything with lasers? Make it nice and pinpoint precise.
Lasers.
okay. Could not find the answer at all easily accessible in the book, but I used ChatGPT to run the calculation, and it says 3.58 days to accelerate to 7 Gs and then to decelerate from 7 Gs to get to 44 AU. It was 44 AU, right?
Thank you,
Yeah, something like
ChatGPT.
that.
Could we just extract them if we don't have anything with lasers? Just grab a mining pick or something, or
We
try and
don't.
ship it off?
We're not a mining ship. We're not equipped to do this. That's why I suggested we just blast a hole in the surface to get some samples.
Yeah, but I would
Like,
hate
I'm not.
to waste that much stuff unless we just have to.
Yeah, but
we
we're
set
not
Nissan
talking
gun
of.
on its lowest setting and then points it at a meteor.
No, we're not talking about using the Meson gun. We're talking about using a cannon that would be put on like a tank or something, like that size.
I mean, to be fair, we have a machine shop on the boat. I can make some mining hammers and picks.
The travel time is 3.5 days.
Oh, and actually, it was shorter than that, unfortunately. So It is.
What was shorter than? Oh, it was shorter than 44 AU.
Yeah, you added more. You added to it. It's 38.8 AU.
Yeah, but I mean, with a machine, we got a machine shop running up some, basic handheld binding tools. It's not going to be an issue.
You do have internal dampers, right? 7Gs. Yeah. Ships in Traveler have grab plates, chat. So that's why people don't go to paste the minute they rocket away. Or that's why you hope you make sure the grab plates are working before you start moving around. Because otherwise you paste your crew.
Oh, but yeah, I don't need a big sample. I just need a small
Yeah.
sample. So I can put it under a microscope.
So yeah, I'm thinking that's the thing. Get like a.
Also, it wouldn't turn us to pace because our maximum acceleration is only 7 Gs.
So pass out.
Yeah. Yeah, because I think I can run up a small, mineral hammer, and enough to chip off a bit of the crystal.
I guess my misunderstanding is I thought this was all under the surface.
You'd have to vac suit over, get inside, and then walk into and then very carefully maneuver your way into the spot, and then pick at it.
Yeah.
All right, then. Yeah, this seems like an operation for Tarbin to pilot the cutter over.
So like Tarbin would be using Jack of all trades for his 0G. Do any of our employees aboard have 0G? Perhaps.
None of their other skill. Oh wait, yeah, that's entirely up to the GM because
Haven't been defined yet.
they haven't been defined.
The only skills we looked for when we were hiring them was working with the computers.
Okay.
That's not exactly true.
Yeah,
Oh,
does one of
really?
the engineers
Forget one.
perhaps have 0G?
Let's find out together.
Yeah, they have secondary skills,
Right,
but it's like gunner and mechanic and electronics.
right.
Yep, someone has 0G. Because 0G is something that a person from certain worlds would just learn. It's just something you would know
Right.
if you're from I think it's like vacuum worlds, deep space. People learn it the same way people on Earth learn to use cars. Like you're fairly likely to find someone who can drive a wheel vehicle on Earth.
Yeah, and probably not that uncommon among engineers. Tarbin will fly the pinnace over to an asteroid with the crystals first.
And this also has a mainframe that can handle 16 tasks if you get into trouble. So,
Okay.
but it's set up right now. Before you go, we have to take time to activate and hook up the densometer. Remember, we can't afford to have all the sensors connected at the same time.
Okay.
So I don't know if that adds to your calculation, GM. We need to disconnect one of our our visor and connect up the densometer. That way he can actually go find a crystal. Because we basically don't have enough consoles to run all the sensors at once.
You can give me dexterity 2 dice to swap them around. It would take a little bit of time, but if you want to do it super quickly, it would be 3 dice.
About dexterity plus engineering.
That would work, yeah.
Okay, so that's gonna pop up to 3 dice even for doing it regular. But that's 12 plus 6. That's 18.
7G sustained with ruptured capillaries may cause glock. If you're not braced and suited for it, it would be super uncomfortable to breathe. So you wouldn't necessarily be dead, you would just hate every second of it.
You might be after 3 continuous days of it.
I suppose.
Yep, Tarbin made the engineering roll.
Yep, you were able to swap it around.
Uh,
Takes you at most like an hour or so. Like it takes time,
Right.
but it's not going to eat a whole day to swap that around. You just have to sit there and do it.
And actually, the mainframe's not going to be that good at using the sensors because we don't have enough consoles. So you're still at the mainframe can only do this at 8, not 16.
Okay.
So you might be better at the sensors than the mainframe will be.
Gravitational loss of consciousness. G-lock. Oh, doy. So Tarbin grabbed some gear from the machine shop on the main ship, my understanding? Like a pick or something?
I think he's going to make it from the machine shop.
Oh. That will require a roll. Are you looking for a fairly advanced version of it, or just a simple get the job done device at a tech level you're familiar with or lower? Because remember, we're in the far future. You can get super high tech with pretty much anything.
Yeah, just a simple, handheld, like literally a mineral hammer or something. We're just looking for enough of a sample that gives the professor a decent amount to do some tests on. He doesn't need a lot, I don't think.
I would say this is a difficult task. 3 dice. I would say it would be dexterity to construct it in the machine shop. It would normally use the craftsman skill because you're making something. But you have jack of all trades to cover that, possibly.
Yes.
So 3 dice, and I'll give you +1 because you're not MacGyvering the thing. You're in a shop and sitting there and grabbing materials that would be normally on the ship, and you're not making a very large device. So I'm not going to ask you to pull it to tonnage or anything like that.
So that's going to be a roll of 15 on. You said the base roll was 3.
Yep.
So 15 on 4 for me if it's dex.
Which is going to proc your... That's above your jack of all trades, right? So you're going to get hit up to 5d.
Because this is hard.
Can he get help from we have an Ursa that's not only a certified engineer, they're also a certified mechanic.
Unfortunately, they don't know the craftsman skill.
Okay.
I wonder if there's anything
They buy
else
their
out
tools.
there.
They don't make their tools. Craftsman skill is pretty scary too. You can make all kinds of stuff with it, but that's why it's hard to get. You can't even start as a craftsman as your first career. You have to do something else and then become a craftsman later.
Mm-hmm.
I think our Hiver tried to do that, and we just couldn't. We kept trying to we kept trying to circle back to craftsman, and just couldn't get in.
Okay, to maybe try and just kind of reduce the difficulty here, could I make an argument for training? Because I mean, I'm basically an engineer using a
Like a lathe or a CNC or something.
Yeah, an engineer using a machine shop to.
I'll take
bust out
training
a-
on that. Yeah, I'll take
Okay.
that.
That'll at least get it down to 4. Whether this is hard. It's still it lowers the. It's a 12 on 4 now. All right, let's see. I just missed it. Oh wait, I did not count the bonus for the machine shop, so it was actually a 13.
On the nose. There's a moment where you're making the thing, and you're like, and it's like, you're missing something. What the hell is it? You start wandering around the shop looking. It's like, aha, that.
Oh yeah,
and then
a handle.
It's like, I need a handle for this stupid thing. What? I have the drill. I have the sample thing. I have everything. I don't have a stupid handle. Is there anything in here I can use as a handle? That. Will we miss it? Not. Yeah, it's just scrap metal. Oh, okay. There.
It's
not super pretty, but it works, and it's going to do the job you want it to do.
Okay.
So you have a tool to getting a sample. You have a vac suit you'll be able to bring with you. You have a smaller vessel you're going to fly over.
Right. And the MP, we're doing the person who's skilled in 0G to go over and get it.
So you're going to have a crew person go over with you.
Uh,
You know?
the ship doesn't really the system doesn't really handle like what the maximum number of people you can have on a ship is. It handles like
It's
how many rooms you have.
Ref discretion generally.
Yeah. So I was gonna say we have 3 consoles. So like there's definitely 3 paces for people to sit down and operate the pilot, the security sensors, and the engineering. So maybe you want to take 3 people.
Okay. Sure.
Just take one of the other engineers to sit at the engineer console.
Okay.
So this is an all Ursine mission.
Da-da-da. Success guaranteed.
So you have...
Sure, things might get a bit hairy, but ultimately.
Ha 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 ha.
So first off, who's flying over to the target areas?
The computer?
Tarbin will pilot it.
And are you trying to fly up so you're just close enough that a spacewalk isn't a pain, or are you trying to like get your nose as deep in as you can so it makes it very trivial to walk across?
Well, how good of a 0G guy is he?
What certification are you paying them for? So
He's a master.
He's a master at his main
Engineer.
thing, so he's one step below that. So he's still experienced. So he's rolling, I think,
4?
Well, you don't pay. It's not the number of dice that determine what his score is. It's the target number. Right? The number of dice is decided by the task.
Well, it lets you know what kind of roll. So any roll that's 4 dice or lower, he's likely going to be able to do, because you're certified at what you're likely able to achieve.
Yeah.
On average, like on average, I should succeed at this many dice.
Yeah, master is like a 5D test, and experience is a 4D test.
Yeah. So as long as it's not larger than a 4D test, they'll likely pull it off. They might biff it anyway, but they're unlikely to biff anything larger than a 4.
Much better than I would be with Jack of all trades. So yeah, let's just in that case get it close enough where the spacewalk is not going to be a big deal for an experienced guy. Get it in close enough, match rotation and all that.
All right. Give me Dex 2 dice base piloting.
Okay, so that bumps up to 3 for me.
Oops.
Pilot.
Keep grabbing everything but what I want.
Dex is 12. Pilot is 4 plus 1 for being a live pursuit. Then 2 more because it is a small craft and I have that skill. So 12, 17, 18, 19 on 3.
Almost. Critical success.
So what are the things what are the asteroids you're trying to, what are you trying to get samples of, just so I can label it properly on my end?
Strange crystals and the fauna. Fauna is just a bunch of kittens.
Carnivorous kittens.
The best. Whoa.
You just
there
found
another
a
kind?
Fargar colony.
So, crystals and fauna. Well, that's plant. Wrong thing. Yeah. So which one do you want to move to first? Crystals or the fauna?
Which one's closest?
Crystals.
Then fauna. Let's go farthest out and get the crystals on our way back.
I'll go a little further away than that. So you're sending out one of them to spacewalk over?
Yep. So I pay him the big bucks.
You give him a drill, of course.
Yeah. Use tools here. Take these tools.
And
Go.
company provided mech suit.
Right. With our little logo on it, whatever that may be.
They're able to go over there and crawl into the area that they need without ripping their suit. They're also able to extract a usable... actually, you went to the crystals, not them. So they find that there's a variety of... these are samples. So there's a variety of boxes that are...
The crystals are samples?
No, the fauna.
The fauna. So it's not the actual animals themselves. It's like parts of the animals. So there is. They can grab like a box. They can either put. They can. The easiest thing they can grab is like a small little like a bread box sized thing.
That's fine.
I think they'll grab that and they'll start heading back over.
That at least gives some information.
Actually, I did 2 rolls already. They didn't super biff either of them, so they come back.
And then
Did
make my
they-
way over
they-
to. Oh,
Notice any details that would indicate why this was here? Right, because asteroids
like-
don't tend to have random plant samples in them.
any, Megacorp stamps on the boxes or anything?
No Megacorp stamps, but the way it was laid out when they went inside, it looked like it was organized. It felt like a depot, like a warehouse, except much smaller and very inconvenient to get to. But still, it was all like because there was these large straps that held things together, as well as magnetic connects. So it wasn't just like wooden boxes tossed in a hole. It was like, no, we found a nice little crevice, little area to start stuffing these asteroids full of stuff, but giving enough room that someone could be 0G maneuvering around and grabbing stuff.
This screams smuggling,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, for sure.
But they have a box. It doesn't have any mega corporate logos or anything, though.
All
They're
right,
like,
yeah, bring that back.
There was like larger crates, but they're like, well, that'd be a pain in the neck to get out if you want. But,
yeah, that's fine.
yeah. They basically just opened up a crate and went, oh, there's smaller boxes in here. Well, yoink. Let's grab one.
Box time
So-
another box.
Head on back and let's head over to the crystals.
Okay, give me another pilot check. Easy done. You send them out to go get a crystal. He does some biff getting over there. He gets a sample. One second, about to sneeze. Phew. Pardon me. They're able to gather whatever it is. They don't know what it is, but it didn't blow up, and they got a sample of it, whatever it is they're looking at.
Okay.
It doesn't look to be stored in any weird way. It's like a vein that it seems to be
Right, natural occurring
Yeah.
mineral, yeah, or whatever it is. Okay. Put it in a sample container and let's go home.
Okay. So do you screw up getting back? Nearly.
Huh.
If I got 3 successes, the guy would have done something very bad to himself. But yep, nope, they're able to get back. Although they seem very exhausted from the venture since they had some time. It wasn't the sample's small, but they just kept their rather large creature in this crawl space wasn't terribly comfortable.
Yeah, fair.
But they figured a way around it.
We need to name our crew too. Wonder if there's an Ursa name generator.
Not one I'm immediately. I have one for Aslan, but I don't have one for Ursine. Felines are obligate carnivores. They don't have a choice but to eat meat. Oh,
There's
so
a
they
bear
have.
name generator.
The what?
There's a boar and bear name generator.
Yeah, I'm looking at that now. The 370 plus fantasy and boar bear name suggestions.
FantasyNameGenerators.com. Yeah, those guys.
Okay.
So I presume you fly back.
Funnily
Yeah.
enough, Tarvin is the first thing that comes up on the name generator.
Odd how that is.
Yeah, weird. Also, Trotsky is another one.
Yeah.
Do they recommend for a bear?
Russians. Yeah.
And as you begin to fly back,
Oh boy. Did we accidentally find a pirate hideout?
and there it is. I was trying to find what I was looking for. You hear an intermittent hum in the engine as you start coming about and getting back to the ship.
Okie dokie.
But that's it. It's just a weird humming noise that kind of it hums and then it goes away, then it hums again and goes away.
Anything interesting on the readouts for the engineering section of that?
Let's find out together. It notes that the maneuver drive has a slight is basically pushing to port harder than starboard by a tiny amount, and it's causing. But the ship's automatically correcting for it, and it's creating this weird noise in the engine system.
Okay, we're not far from the ship, right?
No.
Okay, so I am going to. You said it was the port engine.
Yep.
Okay, I'm a pretty hot pilot, so I am going to cut the port engine and make the way back to the ship just on the starboard engine and thrusters, so I can get it back and look at it.
Give me another pilot check. Just 2 dice. Wow,
That's-
the sheet is not updating at all. Chad, the thing is looking super weird. Give me a moment.
It goes up to 3 for me. Yep. Hello. Are you a carnivorous kitten? Of course you are. That's the only kind of cats there are. Carnivorous cats.
I'm
Sure.
sorry.
I think he's talking to his cat.
Oh, is that
Yes.
Jazz Dude? Hello, Jazz
No, this
Dude.
is actually Bebop.
Oh, hello, Bebop.
Jazz
Hi,
Dude is
Bebop.
curled up in his bed by the window.
Bless him.
Yeah, you're able to get back safely to the ship after you kind of have to overcome the possible disaster that was going to happen, but it turns out to be fine. It just you account for any possible downside that would have occurred.
Yeah.
Calcian will meet Tarbin in the hangar once the cutter's up and see how the mission went.
Went very well. Misha did very well with the EVA. We've got some samples, hopefully enough for the doc to work with. A little bit of trouble with the probably not the engine itself, but probably the thruster vernier. I'll need to take a look at the cutter and see what's going on.
All right, maybe you navigate us out of the field and then
Yeah.
set the computer to auto, and then you
Well,
can
and
take
then honestly,
time to...
that's something I can do while we're in jump space between here and. I mean, we'll be there for a week. I can look at it then. There's no danger of it blowing up or anything. Just something was not directing the thrust properly. So yeah, get the samples to Calvir, and let's be sure and register our claims with the dames, with Dame Zirmir.
Oh, yeah, make sure she knows.
All right.
Yeah, so that we're all legal and I's dotted, T's crossed there. And then while we're doing that, I can go ahead and start making our way out to the 100D limit for the jump to.
We're
52.
actually really close to the 100D limit already.
Yeah,
We're half.
yeah.
I don't think we're halfway there. I don't know what the diameter of the star is.
Yeah.
Oh, and we need you because our safe jump distance is not 100D. It's dependent on your pilot skill.
All right.
There's a
Ow.
it's that formula. I think.
Chat M1V or M15, I should say.
0.3 minus.
Let me get back to the page to tell you where I got that from. It's actually much closer for us because you're such a... I think it's because you're such a good pilot, but it may be because you're such a good engineer. Let me double check.
He's a very clever bear.
I will need someone to register the finding. I will need 2 dice, intelligence, admin, or bureaucrat. To properly register your finding.
I have some bureaucrat, I think.
I would be at a 13 on this.
What about our other baronet?
Iblif.
If you got any bureaucracy?
Do I have bureaucracy? No.
Or admin.
Nope.
I can do it.
What
I
did you
could do
say
a
would
12 with
be,
Jack of all trades, but
Yeah,
would be
that's me is 13 on Jack of all trades.
intelligence plus bureaucrat?
Yeah. On 2 dice.
I'd be at a 10, but I'd prog this is hard because I only got 1.
okay. So you want to take care of that, Calcian?
Yeah.
Actually, what you can do, because Caviar actually has the skill, Caviar can assist you because he actually he would add his skill to your target number.
I'll give you that 1, I guess, you know.
Whoa.
Oh,
I mean, Yeah.
If you got boxcars, that would have been hilarious. And you didn't register it properly. Damn. What's that? You're forfeiting it to the tech. You claimed it for the technocracy. Oh, how generous of you. Wait, no, that's not what I meant.
Hang on.
Yeah, you're supposed to take that box, not that box. Oh, well, it could be self-evident, but apparently it isn't. Okay, well.
Oh, that's the wrong. Sorry, it's not that formula. It's
By the way, you owe me payday. It's $246 by the time you got done your survey.
Hey, that means I'm a
Social
baronet
standing.
officially.
Social standing times 100.
Yep. I'll adjust the pin. $270's the next payday.
And it's 10 times our social standing, right?
100.
Times 100, yeah.
Yeah.
100. Right. Okay. Gotta do math now.
And we also, the company pays 28,000 out in salaries.
Ooh.
Oh.
Paying for the crew.
Don't worry, we're still up almost 2 million so
And
far.
actually, with that, I am going to take a short break, and I'll be back in a few minutes. I have returned. They freaking getting all that material, mining all that stuff. I mean, it was funny. I had them mine it, and then I'm like, yeah, you can mine stuff. I mean, how likely are you gonna find it? Oh, it's gonna be hard to get to. I was like, all right, you have crew and decent stuff and decent machinery and whatnot. And it's like, well, I mean, it's a fair find. That's Traveler for you. If you're properly equipped and you bother to look, sometimes there's stuff to find. You never know when you're gonna need that kind of money. Plus, they did it in an area that was super safe. They weren't doing it in like a pirate area or anything like that, so they were in good hands. But let's get back to them if they are back. Hello.
Hello.
Howdy.
Hello.
Once we get the resource unit, would be to either buy a mining company or buy ore carriers and contract with a mining company, depending on what our approach would be.
Doesn't a mining company come with ore carriers?
I don't know. I have zero idea.
So you want to know how much it would be to set up a mining?
That's like off the wall thinking, because right now the company only has 4 million credits, and I doubt we can set up a whole mining operation and buy the ore carrying ships for that much. Right.
Yeah, no.
So we need to wait till we get our half a resource unit to pull that off.
That's what it was. So.
Yeah, and I did calculate our safe jump distance at 71 diameters, not 100 diameters. Which is like
So what I'll say, based on what since you have surveyed that particular bit of asteroid field and you've essentially created a mining land grant that produces 5,000 credits annually. Because that will cover anyone who says, because you've made claim to it now. So if someone else goes out there and says, well, I want to grab some stuff there. It's like, okay, but you have to pay a tax. Why? Because it's from, that belongs to somebody. You can't just go there and grab stuff. You have to pay your tax. You have to pay a tax, plus you have to pay the rent fee for being there.
So it's Ectron mail concern 5,000 credits a year. Not mail concern, mining concern.
Yep. And that's because it's only 5,000 because it's unimproved. It's just, and it's a non-main world land grant. So,
that's not that we might, if no one comes out here and tries to start mining it, we're not going to get that 5,000. That's only if someone comes out here.
In general, it's going to be, even the government will send somebody out. Like the Knight will probably send someone out, go, hey, could you grab some stuff there and do some scans? It's like, like you're still, it's payment, but it also covers the payment by the government to acknowledge your holding. This is a lot easier as well. The role initially was easier as well because you had a Knight of the Darien Confederacy on the contract, so it wasn't nearly as annoying it'd be like 3 or 4, like it'd be like 4 for Iblith to claim it because he's a Jordani trying to make a land claim in Darien space.
Yeah, that go real well.
It's like, can you do it? I mean, there's paperwork for it if you want to go through it, but it's a pain in the neck.
Yeah, it's kind of like my land grants in the core sectors. They're not really developed, but I get $5,000 a year for them just because they're my land grants.
because you're also being credited for it being on a map. Like future TES maps are going to be updated and go, hey, by the way, this is here.
Yep.
Like, oh, cool. Because
I named our engineers. At least got the first name.
I added those names to the spreadsheet.
Okay.
Cool.
So you go out to these to jump point, and are we calculating for jump?
The computers are calculating for jump. I'm not calculating for jump.
All right, time to open up that part of the book.
Yeah, I remember there was a section that gave the whole process out that was really helpful last time. I think it's on 115, book 2.
Well, if folks can hear that, that is a lawnmower. Don't worry about it. I'm fine.
I cannot.
Who brought a lawnmower on board?
How is there grass on the starship?
It's called flora samples. Sorry.
Oh, is it just grass? Is that what was in the box?
It's animal grass. Don't ask me what that means. That's what it is now.
That's just hair.
And,
Or fur, depending on the creature.
it's the ground cover on a planet that looks like grass, but it's not plant. It's actually animal.
Can you move us to the sector map?
No.
Okay then. Don't.
Well then, I don't want to jump anymore.
Sorry, Dave. I'm afraid I can't do that.
No, we can just stay here. I don't mind.
So
Come on, Matt.
the first step is the captain saying we're going to 3277.
What page was it again?
115, book 2.
Only one page, book 2. Determine destination. Where are you going?
The destination is the star of the 3227 system. So we want to come out 100 diameters from that.
Reidai subsector 3227.
Yeah.
So Captain now has put in the system. Astrogator. That's a jump. Well, that is jump what? 3? 1,
Yes,
2, 3.
that's
Yep.
jump 3.
Jump 3. You have a jump 4 system machine, as I recall. So this is within your range.
So I think that means it's 3 dice. Astrogator. Which the ship is doing.
Which is Met.
So you roll 2 dice and I roll 1 uncertainty, as I recall.
We got a 5, so whatever you roll, it cannot add up to 16. So we're confident in the success of the calculation. So I don't think we'll take time to do verification. Because if you rolled a 6, that would put us at 11, and the computer would succeed all the way up to 16.
Very good. And result, verify. You don't need to verify. Maneuver to jump point.
Yeah, we're there, I think.
And do you engage jump?
Yes.
Yep.
With a flash of light, the ship vanishes from the Ectron system. As it jumps into jump space. I believe you have a week before you arrive.
Hey, so, question.
Yeah.
The psi amplifier thing, you said it's like a laser designator, right?
Yep.
Does that mean I have to be the one using it, or can anybody paint the target for me and now I can mess with them from far away?
That's a good question.
because I can't shoot very well, but other people can.
Oh, it starts as a director, and amplifier just makes it even more powerful. So okay, so yeah, you could designate someone else to fire the laser, and you just have to be, but you do have to be connected or in contact with the amplifier in some way, because you're directing your power at it, and it's telling you what you're aiming at.
Oh, I see.
But someone else could paint it. You could do it that way. You could, I imagine among the Jordani, that's probably a thing some people do, where you have a trained laser designator user, or not indirect user, but there's a skill for.
It's forward
target.
observer.
Yeah, someone with forward observer skill would paint the target and then say, "I have it," and then you're like, "Okay, now I'm going to try to hit it with my psychic power," because you're not using your senses to see it. You're using the laser designator in the machine to the side laser, the side detector to.
So like I'm wearing the backpack thing or whatever, and then somebody else is holding the pistol. Cool.
Yep.
Or the handheld, whatever.
Or they're holding the backpack and the pistol, and they hand you like goggles that you put on, and you're like, okay, and they're like, you see it? Yep. Okay, go. You know.
Oh,
like,
cool.
Or it's like, go ahead, I'm hitting it. Hit what? I'm seeing mountains. Which way do I aim? I don't know. You're the one holding the designator. That's the whole point of this.
Pointed at the thing you want me to make go away.
So what do you guys do for the week during the jump?
Can I take some of those crystal samples
There you
and test them, or sorry, not crystal samples, but the fauna samples and the crystal samples actually, and test them out?
Which one do you want to test first?
Let's start with the fauna. I guess that's more up my alley.
Intelligence plus. I was gonna say animals, but that's training animals. You're not training hair. Biology.
Can I use education if I were to scroll through my books to try and reference whatever these things are?
That's reasonable. I would say this would be normally 3, but you have time to check. You have a week to do it, so it only takes 2 days.
All right.
And you can do more than one thing. I'm just saying that you have more than an hour to figure this out.
So my education is 12, my biologics is 2. Because this is a life pursuit, I get another 1, so that's a 15 overall on 2 dice. Yeah. Didn't crit fail, so it's all good.
So what are you hoping to learn from studying these things? Just in general? Anything in general or anything in particular?
Well, what are they? I mean, they were drifting around in space. Were they used as lab stuff, or is this just something that was collected off somewhere? Is it worth anything?
It'd be worth something. There's always, because they're like, you just have to find, you would go to a place that and trade it on a floor as per any other cargo, really. It comes from okay. These samples seem to be animals that you were fauna that you would are not likely to have encountered, but they're not like super rare creatures in known space. These things are actually, the funny thing is, these things seem no more as of collection time, they're no more than weeks old.
What?
Huh?
As in, they were collected no more than a few weeks before you guys grabbed it.
It's
And
not
very
a. It's not possible that these have been in some sort of stasis box, right? Which would, mask their.
With your role, you're able to account for that. There is some level of preservation to them, between them being in the vacuum of space inside of an asteroid and the containment unit, but it is pretty
fresh still.
pretty fresh still. Yeah, despite that. That's why that's why it's weeks. You can't narrow it down further than that because you don't know. You couldn't say exactly how many weeks, but you know it's 1 to 4 weeks.
Did the box perhaps contain any sort of serial numbers or anything like that, which might lead me back to their owner?
There's some sort of marker number, but without a reference point, like which government entity it's registered with. The number means nothing to you, but there's a number on it. Someone's bothering to catalog or index these things so they could find them.
Interesting. Could these things that are in here be of use to me specifically if I were to use them in my own experiments or research?
It's very improbable that would. It's highly improbable to be of particular use to your studies. You do get. It must be useful to somebody though. Like they bother to catalog this. This feels like there's a variety of animals that this is sampled from, which I won't bother to list, but they're animals that you would be familiar with in your biological knowledge. You wouldn't run into them very often, but you'd have heard of them. It's like, this would be useful to like a student or someone from a tech level lower than yours who isn't aware of the same stuff you are.
Right.
Like your character's far more educated in biology than a biologist from Earth of current day would be. Because they just simply have more exposure to multiple star systems and sciences and understanding and so on.
Okay, before I summon the crew to tell them what transpired, I'd like to take a look at the crystal as well. Put it under a microscope, see what it's made of.
Certainly. Oh, and I'll note that the tech level of the box, since you've had time to look at it a bit, it is about tech level 12. It's tech level 12 containment unit.
What does that correspond to? Like, what would be the equivalent to a
Isn't
tech
that
level?
standard Imperial tech level?
I'm double checking to make sure. That sounds correct.
Because if it is, does it look Villani in nature?
Tech level 12 falls within average Imperial.
Okay, does this actually look Villani in nature then?
It does.
Oh, okay. Must have a colleague must have gotten around here and lost it, right? So I don't know. We'll keep this box here anyway for the time being, and if we find the colleague, we'll let him know. All right. Tell me about the crystal.
The crystal will require would be 3, brought down to 2 because you have time. 2 dice, education. This would probably fall under something like geology, I would imagine.
Probably. Can I wing it if I don't have geology?
You can. I'd add a die to it because this is hard for you.
3. Yeah, sure. This is hard.
And then you might argue for having a physics lab.
I also am skilled in physics. If physics could help me out here.
Not yet. You don't know what exactly you're not for sure what the crystals are. You can do physics things to them, but you'd be doing physics experiment with unknown crystal X.
Right. Okay. Well, let's see what it is then. Oh. Oh God. Okay. Okay. I have an idea.
At least it's not a critical.
Can I roll curiosity for what this thing is?
Oh yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Oh God! Hand wave that roll completely. God. There's a chance it might not work though because I have 7 curiosity and I have to roll 2d, right?
With 7, Yeah, I
Yeah.
think with 2 you still need to roll 2. Yeah.
Well, here we go. Oh, never mind.
Oh.
Unknown Crystal X. Try as hard as I might, I can't figure out what this damn thing is, so let's put it to more practical use. Put it inside the physics lab and let's try and apply some force to it. If it's a diamond, it won't break that easily.
Or
Uh,
like shoot lasers and stuff into it.
I will say, because you spent a considerable amount of time exploring the fauna and the strange crystals, and you're trying to do this before you arrive at your destination, this is a formidable task because you're trying to identify something through an adjacent science, but not the most relevant science to the task. And you're trying to do it quickly, so that it would be intelligence 5 dice.
Oh,
And you're gonna get hit with 6 dice because this is hard.
oh.
But don't worry, you get +1 because you have a physics lab.
Hey,
So
the company
intelligence-
provides, right?
Is it intelligence physics, right?
Yep.
Intelligence physics is an 11 plus 1, that's 12. On 6 dice,
Mhm.
doable. I just need 6 ones.
Is that
Oh.
all?
I never doubted myself for a moment. Yeah, no.
You learn various things about its physical properties, but it doesn't narrow it down. It narrows it down to what you already knew, that this is some sort of strange crystal, as opposed to a rock or a gas or a liquid or aero foam or something.
Okay.
Yep. Sure is a strange crystal.
Well, I'll just get a shipwide memo. Crystal is a work in progress. As for the fauna, it appears that some Velani colleague of mine must have lost it around here somewhere because the box that it was contained in is of Imperial Velani make. And we should seek out any scientists who may have lost something relatively recently, in case we might be able to get a finder's fee. That was all. Thank you. On the PA system. We do have a PA system, right?
I would
Oh, yeah,
assume.
I would assume so, yeah.
Hell yeah.
Given the tech level of the ship, I would assume so.
Now we're gonna have daily lectures today on Biology Daily with Professor Tristani.
The captain has decided to limit access to the PA system.
Anything that Ibifatil, Langoff, or Arctos are up to?
I kind of want to know the result of Tarbin's engine fixing before I decide what I'm going to do.
Yeah, so Tarbin wants to get on figuring out what the problem with the cutter's port engine our thruster was and
Give
get to
me
fixing it.
Give me intelligence. Oh, sorry, training in your case. I believe. No, it's still intelligence for you. What am I talking about? Intelligence or training, I suppose, because you would be trained on the on maneuver drives anyway.
Engineer?
Yep. Would be difficult normally. You have time to do it, so it goes down to 2. And you're from the core systems of the
Yeah, I'm
Empire,
from the
right?
capital planet. So
I was gonna bring.
level-
Tech level's not an issue. That was the thing I was hemming and hawing at in my head. I was like, wait, that's not an issue for you.
It's okay. Intelligence 10, engineers 5, plus 1 for the maneuver drive knowledge, so 16. And it is a life pursuit, so 17. And you said it was 2 or 3 dice?
2.
2. That is not one of the bare 3D things, so there we go.
You're able to determine that it was something involving the. There's various in and around asteroids. There is very fine, almost invisible particles that would be hovering there in space, and the intake manifold basically just reacted to it in a weird way. It's easily fixed. It's just you just clear the filter, and it works just fine.
Okay. Need to make a roll for the repair.
No, it's fairly straightforward. It's something well within its tech level that it's like, oh, press this button, turn it off, turn it on again, sort of thing. It's like rev the engine for a couple minutes and it's done. Oh, what special engineering thing did you do? I pressed the clear engine manifold button. Like it's a thing that happens. But you didn't know to do that until you did it, until you bothered looking at it, going like, it better, because it could be something else. You wouldn't want to do that exact same trick with like iridium sponge particles hanging out in there. And it's like, I just obliterated the engine.
Right. And I also want to set up a regular preventative maintenance schedule for the Void Gazer as a whole for my engineering team and me, with an eye to catching problems before they become real problems and making our annual maintenance a simple and easy thing.
Give me training, 3 dice.
Mm-hmm.
Engineer.
Okay.
Could I help by providing my leader as a mod?
Sure, actually, that makes total sense.
Then you get 2.
That's 18 on 3.
Oh, I was redundant. I see.
Like all leaders in a capitalistic system. Sorry, what was that? I was thinking out loud.
Well, hey, I got involved, which means as the leader, I get most of the credit, right?
So what that will account to is that for the duration of the for this episode, any Q-Rebs I bring up that involves the Void Gazer, I'm going to add +1 to the flux because you've made it harder for anything to fail.
Okay. That's good for me.
Calcian or Iblith?
I wanted to generally see that the ship is running smoothly and that the crew gets everything they need. I think I've already included what I was helping the engineers with. So, in specifics, if Calvier or Iblith don't need any help specifically, I would like to prepare some models on mining operations that I want the mainframes to run, not only to give them something to do because they like to solve unique problems, but also because I want to put together a study of how profitable it would be for the company to engage in mining.
Going and asking ChatGPT.
Yeah, I'm gonna ask the AI, what are some appropriate approaches? Like, given that I have this amount of resources, what kind of mining company should I set up, and how should I approach mining these fields? They may not have a useful answer, but it gives them something to do.
Minors, in interstellar legal terms, are persons who are not of legal age. No, that's not what I meant. No, mining.
Yeah, like erase history. I don't need Tarbin coming to ask me what I've been asking the mainframes.
Is there such a thing as FBI in space?
See, in the Jenny concept, this would have been solved before he even looked it up. No, but give me intelligence, 3 dice, plus programming, I would suppose.
Nope. 1 short.
Oh dear.
The AI do try their best to explain their very genius idea. Unfortunately, they get a little too technical for you, and you kind of lose them. And you try to, and you spend a lot of time just like, what? I explain that again? Okay, but what about this? Well, because of this. What's that? I mean, the computers seem to understand perfectly fine. It's you that's having the problem of either you didn't tell them how to do it properly, or they're not explaining it very well to you, and you're not sure how to ask the question you need to ask. But hey, the computers appreciate the challenge anyway. At any event, fail or not, they're like, "Hey, cool. We'll look into this. Sure, why not?"
That's it for me.
Iblith.
I think actually he might ask Calcium for help with this because Iblith has realized that he doesn't have the proper training to fully use his sonic amplifier to its fullest extent just by himself lonesome. So he might ask he'll probably ask Calcium if Calcium would be able to do a couple practice runs where Calcium is the one painting the target and Iblith is, practicing with the psi amplifier, getting used to it.
I don't know what all this entails.
Basically, you go to like the cargo bay or something, and you point at something on the other end of the cargo bay with the painter, and then Iblith sees if he can.
If it's
use the
easier to
amplifier.
influence.
Yeah, if it's easier. Basically, you're shooting something, and then I move it with my mind.
Looking up forward observer. I mean, I don't have forward observer. I just have jack of all trades.
Ah.
Which I mean, I can probably help you with what you need help with. I'm just trying to decide what. Calcium is very hesitant about psionics because I don't understand it. As long as critically failing does not pose any danger to Calcium, he'll help you. But even if there's a hint of risk, he's going to say maybe you should try this when we get to a planet or something.
Looking at the GM, is there any what's the risk of this critically failing?
If you get spectacular failure, don't worry, I'll think of something.
Well, okay, so what would Iblith think that the risks would potentially be if something goes wrong?
Intelligence 3d6 Scientology.
Sweet, okay. So that means I am looking for a... Yeah. Hang on. Yep, I'm looking for a 10 on 3d6. Cool.
What'd you get?
14 with 2 6s.
What's your target number?
10.
Hell if you know.
Wonderful.
Yeah, I don't want my brain fried, so that's gonna be a no.
Okay. So, Corby, I was looking at the book earlier, and there's a whole section on building robots.
Mm-hmm.
Would it be possible to build a drone whose only job is to paint a target for Iblith?
In theory, yes.
Okay.
You're looking at somewhere in the neighborhood of 500,000 to 1 million credits.
They cost that much?
Yes.
Goodness. Well, I know what I'm saving up for now, I guess.
Well, the full robot would probably cost that much. I can't imagine just a drone.
Well, yeah, like it literally its only job is hover and paint target.
Yeah,
well, no,
but
it needs to
you're
hold
not-
the amplifier though.
You're not asking for a drone to just hover and amplify. You're asking for a robot with the forward observer skill.
Ah, yeah.
Yeah.
That's what makes it expensive.
Yeah, if you did it some other way, like if there was some other method you used, it might be much cheaper. But using the robot system in the second book is an extremely expensive way to achieve this.
Cool.
We also, um, I will. I'll say if it's necessary for you to use your skills for the company, the next time we're in port, I will put out feelers to see if we can hire a trained soldier who has forward observer skills.
Probably be cheaper.
And Calcian really doesn't want to hire robots. I mean, he'll hire robots. He does not want to build a robot.
That's fair.
If a robot is available, he'll hire him. But I don't really want to build one. So yeah, I'll make a note. If we get back to port, I'll see about hiring someone with forward observer, because we have a slot on the ship, and I don't think we would hire them just for being a forward observer. We'd hire them to be like
Soldier.
a fighter who
Yeah.
also has forward observer.
Yeah. Bodyguard type or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what do you do instead?
Well, I mean, if he can't focus outwardly on improving his psionics, because for some reason somebody doesn't want their brain blown up, I think he'll. I don't even know if this is mechanic in the book. Like, just the weaken, like, introspection? Just kind of focusing on, like, internal stuff?
Mm-hmm. There's a way to do that, yeah.
Sweet. Yeah, he'll do that.
No, to blow your brain up.
I would like to not tear a hole in the warp. Wait, wrong setting.
I mean,
Hanging out in pajamas, doing makbara, you know.
give me money. No, give me. How deep are you diving? Are you diving? Let me rephrase that. Are you diving to a point that you would have been trained at a Scion Academy, or are you trying to go a level deeper or a stage deeper than that?
You know what? He's interested in improving himself. Let's see if we can go a stage deeper. Let's see
So
what happens.
stage 4, stage 5, stage 6.
Stage 4. He's at stage 3 right now, so we're only taking one step forwards. We're not going crazy here.
Give me, I would say 4 dice, but you have a week to do this, so it'd be 3 dice. Your target number is 15.
Okay.
It's based off your
15 on
self
3 dice.
stat for stage 1.
Yeah. Haha. That was a 13.
As you gaze inward upon yourself, in the power of the mind, you start turning out in your awareness of the people, the noises, the smells, the touch. Then you start closing away your awareness of electromagnetic fields, minds, and just very slowly just vanish the world around you until, as far as your mind's concerned, the universe only encompasses you. roll a single d6 for me.
Single d6. Okay.
Yep.
2.
White or black?
White.
You feel that it's hard to grasp any one particular thought. You find yourself jumping from thought to thought to thought to thought over and over and over. And you find yourself questioning the necessity of people to establish or enforce the various rules and regulations and mores that they seem to hold, since ultimately, what does it really matter? But the thought flutters away almost immediately. Like, you kind of hover there for a second, you find yourself fluttering away. And someone knocks on your door. Food's ready.
Thank you. Huh. Okay. Well, that was interesting.
And we are now 7 days ahead. 2, 4, 6 plus 7.
And outside of all civilized space. Oh, it's actually, remember, it's not 7 days. It's
Oh, right.
168 hours plus flux. So we actually come out a little bit quicker. 162 hours.
162 divided by 24. 6.575 plus 246. Let's put you in the latter part of 252 when you arrive.
Oh, it's flux times 2, not flux. Flux times 2. So that's -8.
Oh, that's 252 anyway. Isn't it?
But we need to know the minutes, GM. What minute of the day is it?
Do not challenge me. I will do it. I will hate every second of it. No. And I'll
There will
know,
be a spreadsheet.
and I know who to blame now.
Yeah. Who cares about this adventure,
hang
GM?
on.
Describe to me exactly, with relevance to the core of the universe, what exact time is it?
To buy a watch, fool.
But like a
Actually-
Dorian watch that gives you the absolute time relative to the core of the
Like
universe.
it's an wrist-mounted atomic clock.
Out.
One second. Boop. Oh, fiddlesticks. Go this way. There we go. You have arrived.
All right, we need to fly around a while trying to scan for bodies, right? Because we need to find a source of fuel. And from my knowledge, right?
Oh, that kind of bodies. I was like, what? What-
Yeah,
what are
we're
we
gonna
hired
turn the
to do
lights
again?
down, load on the void gazer, and everybody just feel, see what happens.
Oh god.
Ugh.
Hey, we spent a week in deep space or whatever, you know? You gotta unwind.
All right, yeah. Let's see if we've got a refuel point
How do you intend to scan for such things?
with our massive banks of scanners.
Um,
Your decimeter tells you that there's
So
dense
we're-
things here.
right. We can scan things within
Almost 3 AUs of our.
3 AU.
Yeah.
So we're gonna have to set down like a pattern, right, and scan over time.
I mean, like our ultimate
Well,
scope
no,
has a scan range of, as a space range of 12, which has to be pretty impressive.
I have to imagine that is more about like scanning small objects, right? Because like people can see Venus with the naked eye or whatever.
Give me give me a visual scanner. I believe the computer's doing this for you.
We don't need the computer to. One of us can just walk up and hit the enter key on the console and it'll run it for us. But yeah, we could use the computer. When you use a console, you don't have to have the skill, because
Right.
as long as the console only has one thing connected to it. And we're doing the scope because that's our best. That's our furthest distance out.
So space range 12.
How many dice was it?
3, because you're not from here. It's difficult.
Because y'all ain't from around these parts.
So this is triple sixes.
No, it isn't. It's triple twos. Nah. I'm funny. So, scope. So, your that's what I was looking up. I was looking up range on it. What if any this complicates your life? Probably not, because what, 12?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how many AU does 12 look out to?
2.8.
Okay.
But
So,
again, I think there's more to it that we're missing. Like it might have some sensor compared to the size of the object, because
yeah, size
I-
matters,
I-
yeah. You wouldn't be able to tell
human-
precisely where...
a human with a naked eye can see planets from another planet, right? So
Yeah.
I don't think we're going to be blind because it's not within 2 AU of us.
You
Right.
see, there is... This star system appears to be a binary star system. It has 2 planets. Each planet... the planet closest to the stars appears to be the size of a worldlet. So a tiny world, slightly bigger than a moon would be. And the second planet further out is an ice ball, which is easy to see. Actually, better way to put it: the planet furthest out has like one planet, and then there's one larger planet, and then one smaller planet that orbits it.
All right, then I guess our first task is, right, obviously continue scanning, but navigate to the ice world to
Yep.
refuel.
Yep.
I will note nothing else. So you fly over to the... how easy are you to see?
If I flick on this modified stealth mask, pretty difficult.
Yeah, that.
Because the one thing I'll say, if there is a interstellar capable civilization that's here and has sensors that see this far out, they would see. Sorry, better way to put it. If they know what jump drive is, they would see a flash of jump energy enter at the edge of the system, like 100. Possibly, sorry, if they have the sensors for it, they might see a flash of jump. But if you turn on stealth, they'll see a flash of jump, and they don't know what caused it. That could be someone leaving or someone entering. Alarm.
Stretch.
Yeah, this might be something I have to get the numbers on, because I know where the flash calculations are, but I don't know where it describes how to know, because I think they have to roll to see, and I don't know what that number is.
It largely depends on how good their sensors are. If they're really good, or there's a ship hanging out here somewhere, then they'll see it just fine. But if they're like just the cusp of interstellar of jump, like they're at jump 1, they might not have the technology to see that far out. So it largely depends, especially when you're coming to a system you know nothing about. Or there's nothing to worry about at all. This could be a dead system.
All right. Well, the answer is our ship size plus 4. Oh no, it's our ship size plus 2. The problem is I don't know what our ship size is. Is that our ship size in tons?
That would be a very large number.
Yeah, the plus 2 would be irrelevant then.
Oh, I know how to figure that out. Hold on. Took me a second to remember. I haven't looked at this book in a while. These books in a bit. You're an adventure class, so you're size 7.
Yeah.
You don't go to size
9.
8 until you become a battleship where you're holy crap big.
Then our jump flash is 9. So I guess they need to roll 9 or less on their sensors.
Yeah, basically you're as hard to see as a moonlit is.
Our flash is.
Yeah.
And let's go ahead and activate the stealth mask.
But again, I don't know that anyone's gonna realistically be able to see us unless they're within space range 12. Unless they're
but I mean,
2.88.
It doesn't really cost us anything to run the stealth mask.
No, I'm not.
I mean, it's
arguing
passive,
against-
although you can turn it on and off, and for reasons.
Yeah, I'm not arguing against the stealth mask. We can go ahead and turn that on.
Okay.
Yep.
That's what I was checking on.
We are operating under cloak. So can Tarbin plot us using his experience with the scout service, plot us a course in toward the ice planet that also kind of functions as the best course to get us the ice planet while also allowing us to get a better picture of the system as a whole? If that made any sense.
I'm not sure how much better of a picture you can get. The system's not that big.
Yeah, it's fair.
It's a binary. The 2 binary stars that are real close to each other plus two worlds.
Yeah.
If it was bigger, I'd be like, yeah, that's probably a good thing to do. But I was like, there's 2 planets.
Oh, there are only 2 planets?
Yeah, each of them have like things orbiting a thing orbiting them, but they're 2 planets.
Yeah.
Okay, I thought all we could see at the moment was 2 planets.
Oh, and a space range 12 is farther than 2.8. AUs. It's like 3.75. It's 30 light minutes.
Huh.
Anyway, yeah, and keep scanning as we move in to see, looking for smaller objects, ships, orbitals, sneaky incoming missiles.
Give me 4 dice for your scope scan, if that's what you're using to look for stuff. Because what I tell you is based on what sensors you're using.
We can use 8 of them simultaneously.
From one button press?
Well, I mean,
the mainframe, yeah.
We also have ultimate radar, which gives us a space range of 12, which would probably give us a more allow us to detect finer things, but that's way more active.
Well, actually, part of it too as well that I imagine a scope is passive. You're looking through a glass and something, whereas opposed to radar, you're pinging.
Right.
So I don't know how much of that, which sensors do you want me to tell you information for? Because that may change whether someone hears you or sees you. Like scope was easy because that's just you using a very high-powered telescope, essentially.
Right.
Well, we basically the space range sensors. So, grav sensor to detect large bodies, and probably radar.
Radar pings, I'll warn. Someone will know they're being pinged by radar if they have the technology to sense it. They may not know where the hell you are, but they know someone's pinging them.
Yeah, they'll know. Yeah, I don't see a problem with that because we have a stealth mask. So
Okay.
Yeah.
they may come to alert, but
Yeah. Let's
what are they going to come to
combine
alert
the
against?
visor and the radar.
All right. So, you're able to determine that there is a the planet closest is a main world. The planet you're approaching is an ice world. The main world does have a starport. It's just a downport. And there are ships in system who are now looking around for who the hell's pinging them. Approximately. There are 7 ships in the system that are out in space looking around.
What the heck? That's a lot.
7 ships in this abandoned, unoccupied system.
Unexplored, uncharted
say
system.
Right.
Fair enough.
He didn't know anything about what we were coming to.
Oh boy.
It could be alright.
What range are they from us?
One moment.
Because I found the sensor task box. It's on 141, page 141, book 2.
Well, and with that, I think we back off of the radar and go to neutrino detector, which will still tell us where the ships are. It has a
Well, yeah, I think if we
12
try
range.
to do the actual sensor task, we may actually learn what these ships are.
Yeah, find out who the fetch is also here.
Because they have to be within 12 for us to have seen them. Which is probably still an impossible task because that's 12 dice.
You can tell they're size 7 ships. Nothing big, nothing battle class though. They're all adventure class ships.
Well, that's comforting, at the very least.
They seem to be primarily focused on the main world. though some are heading out toward the jump flashpoint.
They're running.
Intelligence tactics or fleet tactics, 3 dice.
That's a success.
They're on an intercept course with the jump point.
Ah,
Like the last flash, because the flashpoint's the only contact they saw.
then as soon as Calcian realizes that, he orders Tarbin, put us on a straight line course away from the jump planet, but not directly towards the planet, like a tangent path, and max acceleration for a short time, because we don't want to be here when they get here.
Fair. I mean, are we all that concerned about broadcasting our appearance in the system?
Someone saw that we jumped in, and their first thought was, we have to go investigate. Last time we jumped into a system, like a civilized system, they didn't even really care. They were kind of nicely surprised that we called into traffic control at all. If we hadn't called into traffic control, they weren't going to do anything about it. So,
Right,
this is way more involved than any.
Yeah, and
we
you may be
experienced.
right, and Tarvin will carry out those orders. But I'm just wondering if between the flash and that we're on their stealth screen and we're sweeping in with radar, that we're the ones appearing to be potentially hostile.
Yeah, but we're in the Wild West now, so we can't rely on being nice and looking right. If we act normal, they have all the advantage in duping us, right? We can't assume that these are normal people who act in a normal fashion, because there's no law to enforce that on them.
Okie dokie. I think you may be being overly paranoid, but okie dokie. Yes, Tarpon will plot an evasive course to make us not just a straight line, but a course that will not make that will make figuring out where we went from the jump point harder.
2 dice, Dex pilot.
Okie dokie. Which brings it up to 3. Pilots. That's 5, 17, 18, 3. Ho ho ho!
Oh boy.
It was bound to happen,
Yeah,
considering
I
how
don't
we've
have-
been rolling tonight.
I don't have any way to do anything about that.
It's been absolutely bound to happen. Don't worry about it.
You gun it, and unfortunately, you gunned it so hard that whatever the stealth screen was doing for you, you've painted a big old light around yourself. You are easily spottable.
That could have been worse.
And the 4 ships that were gonna bypass you turn to start broadcasting at your location.
What are
they
they
broadcasting?
They. Hello? There we go. They broadcast in a couple languages that make no sense to you for a second. But then, they seem to be rotating through different languages, and then they hit Anglic. Unidentified vessel. Identify yourself or you will be fired upon.
Well, tell them who we are.
I'll respond. I'll respond back that we are the Void Gazer BTC 7A or LA 74. Do not approach.
You have entered sovereign space. Identify your intentions.
Sovereign space of who? Who claims this?
Exploration. We do not know of or recognize any power over this system unless you wish to inform us that you have a claim.
Well, pretty high and mighty for a guy in a single ship, aren't you?
I have a meson gun and high explosive missiles. I feel somewhat confident.
You can give me force of will command to get them to go away and leave you alone. Because you're not being nice here. You're not asking them. You're not trying to persuade them. You're ordering them to back off. Unless you're trying to get an answer from them and actually get them to just identify who they are. But you do come off like you're ordering them around.
Yeah, they can tell me who they are, but I'm not promising that I'm going to care.
Force of will, 4 dice. You're not really superior to them, and you're not being violent to them, so there's no bonus from the laws. Three, so 6 on 4 dice. We represent the United Space Fleet of Palm Beak. We do not recognize alien intruders who do not wish to abide or respect our boundaries. Return to your jump point or you will be fired upon.
Well, how
Fleet
about
of
that? We can
who?
finally put a name behind this face, I guess.
Calcian will respond back. We took your scans and aggressive approach to mean that you had hostile intent. If you don't have hostile intent, we will clarify ourselves to your satisfaction. But we don't move the ship.
They fire warning shots near your vessel.
Oh.
Can I look over the sensor data to see what the approximate scale of their ship is?
Scale? How do you mean? In traveler terms.
In tons.
These are... Looking at every book but the one I want. There we go.
Also, what did they fire at us?
Lasers.
Oh, I'm looking right at them. I'm smart. Uh, 400 tons each ship. And to answer what they're shooting at you, they fired fusion guns past you. I will note during this exchange, the other 3 ships don't seem to be approaching. They seem to be hanging back at the main world.
No doubt waiting for backup.
I think we may be dealing with a single or like 2 or 3 system pocket empire.
Oh.
Calcian will double check with the other shareholders. My calculations indicate that we can handle them, which means we could either let them become aggressive and try to continue negotiations. I mean, they're going to shoot at us, but with our screens, I don't think their attacks are going to be effective, which may buy us more time to talk, or we could probably destroy them.
I say we don't do the destroying. We instead just try and speak with them.
They're going to shoot at us. That's not an option anymore. They're going to shoot at us, but we could
absolutely have to refuel. So I mean, you could try to negotiate for
Yeah, we can't leave.
We've got to refuel.
All right. We're not gonna move, and we're gonna respond. At minimum, we have to refuel to leave. If you impede our ability to refuel, you force us to respond.
Is your vessel capable of refueling from ice and water?
Yes.
It is? Cool.
I'm clicking everything for what I want. There we go. You are permitted to go to nearest ice world and refuel. You will be monitored.
See, that wasn't so bad.
Make my course for the ice world.
They follow after you, just keeping you roughly in weapons range, but they do keep their distance.
You want to maybe keep negotiating?
You know,
Yeah, I mean it's gonna take a while for us to get to this planet, right?
Yep.
So we'll give everybody time to cool off before getting back on comms and attempting once more to find out who they are, what they claim to control.
What's
We're
going on?
going to ice to refuel and give everybody time to
Cool off.
End me now.
You're saying everyone needs to chill?
Ice
Just
to
hope-
meet you.
Just hope we don't find ourselves on the rocks.
Oh. God. Can we end the session here?
You can perform a query roll of 2 dice. Feels like you're actively listening, like you're not necessarily discussing back and forth information. You're just trying to get them, like, just while we're refueling, and since we're on our way, who exactly are you?
Yeah.
Unless you're willing to exchange information with... Well, actually, the downside with that is, I just realized, you could roll 2D and it'd be like with active listening, which is 3. But you could, if you exchange information back and forth, you can get a multiplier. If it's just one way getting them to tell you stuff, it's 2D on a 3 plus 1. Because query has +1 across the board. So, depends how much information you want to share with them. So basically 2D versus 4 if you're just getting them to share stuff, or 2D plus 5 if you're sharing information with them.
I'll share stuff like that. We're a imperial registered ship, and we're here on exploration. I'm not going to get into all of the details about why we're in this system other than exploration.
So yeah, if you make the roll, whatever you tell them, I'll fill in what they tell you back, because that's how they'll likely do it. But 2 dice versus 5.
5?
2 doubled is 4, plus 1 is 5.
Oh, okay. I'll try to use luck. Soften the blow. That succeeds. So.
You discuss with them. They acknowledge the information you're sharing with them. But other than that, they just acknowledge the messages, and they acknowledge your current location on their sensors, but they don't bark any orders at you. They don't seem to be offended by it or anything. But they don't reveal any information. You are able to get to the ice world, though.
Hey, that's something.
How far away is the moonlet from us?
It's in orbit of the current planet.
Ah.
Well, basically, there's the main ice world, which is size 3, and there's the very tiny ice world that's 0. Like, it's super tiny.
And those are the only two things.
At this orbit range. There's also the main world that's further in.
Okay, that's what I was asking. Yeah. The Dorian artifact's probably not going to be on the ice world.
Never know.
We'll go in for the refuel and scan while we're there. Maybe we'll get lucky, but we don't even know what we're looking for.
That's true.
Yeah, this was one of those you'll know it when you find it. Tropes.
I will point out to you that the coordinates would tell you at least which planet you needed to go to.
Oh, they did.
And it noted it was the one closest to the stars,
Which would be...
the main world.
Okay.
Yep.
And to answer your question, it is 1.41 AU between where you are to the main world. Yeah, you're at the ice world. Ships are watching you. They don't shoot at you or nothing. They acknowledge any pings you send to them, acknowledging that, yep, we hear your radio. And they then send back a verification ping of, we see you at these coordinates.
Start refueling.
I'm very well aware that it may be very tempting to blow these people up with our nice big guns, but let's try and be civil for once and let's see what they want. We're not here to make enemies, are we?
I mean, the basically is they have indicated to us that like talking is no longer an option, right? There's some initial confusion because they very well could have been hostile to us. So, and in that confusion, right, everybody's has a pretty low opinion of everybody else. We've tried to talk to them. They don't want to talk to us anymore.
Let's just try not to anger them further, because they aren't, well, as it stands, they aren't too intent on shooting us. They let us refuel. So
no,
maybe...
but it's kind of like what we could do. We could spend another 7 days and jump back to where we came from, refuel, and then jump back here again and try to stealthily approach.
I don't think that's gonna work. I mean, because the artifact is probably on the main world. Yeah, they obviously have a space presence that stays pretty alert. I mean, theoretically, with our with our stealth field, we probably could sneak in close, but then I don't think is our cutter equipped with one.
Yes.
Okay. So I mean, it might technically be doable, but I think we're putting ourselves out in a pretty thin branch there, particularly since we would need to refuel again, and we've already kind of put their wind up, so I'm not sure 2 weeks.
I mean, GM, what? When communicating with them and being in close proximity to them for scanning reasons, can we get a rough estimate of what either their tech level is or the strength of their communications equipment to know if they're close? Because 1.8 AUs is pretty long. They may not be in contact range with their spaceport. So I want to see if there's some way we can get enough information to guesstimate whether or not they are in comms range. Because we're in comms range with their world, but I don't know if they are, because we've got pretty advanced comms equipment.
Give me intelligence. Oh, sorry, education plus comms. 2 dice. Is that a hit or?
I'm looking it up.
Ah.
It would not be, unless I might be able to convince you for a mod because of how advanced our sensors are.
+1.
Then that would succeed.
Bastard, look it up this way. Aha. They are within the range of tech level 12, so they are somewhere between tech. To give you timeline wise, they're somewhere between year 0 of the Imperium and 550. So you have a distinct tech advantage on them. They have jump 3 ships, maneuver drive of 7 possibly.
Yeah. Well, the question was, do they have the capacity for deep space communicators? And the answer is yes. You can get deep space communicators at tech level 10.
Oh, there you go.
So, destroy them and hope no one notices is not an option.
Yeah, because they'll just fire off a thingy.
All right. Yeah, I think we may just have to take the L on this one and, get what
40,000
scans we can of the
credits
system and
leave.
take the 47,000 credits, maybe swing back around later. The information that there's a tech level 12-ish polity here will be useful for the future.
How about we put all the PCs inside the cutter? Tell the crew to take the ship back to where we came from, and then sneak away in the cutter to the planet with the PCs.
They're in weapons range of us, though. It's not like we're at pretty far distance where we can easily disappear. If that goes wrong, they don't. There's 0 time in between that going wrong and them starting to shoot the cutter, and the cutter can't stand up.
Yeah.
Well, just throwing ideas out there.
Do you want me to
Yeah.
try to figure out anything about the captain?
We can win the fight. It's just I don't think there's enough willpower for that resource unit for us to commit to that decision.
You don't feel like starting a war with an interstellar polity?
Calcian will, because Calcian's a rogue. He'll attack them to steal something, but he's not the only shareholder. Right.
Nice
Tarbin's not on board with this, and Calcian's
Yeah.
not going to push it.
Yeah, I mean, I just think it's, I think we're. Plus, if we say we destroy all the ships okay, we've got a week before somebody else will arrives, maybe 2 from when they jumped out to when they get back, if they turn around immediately. But then we've got a whole planet of people, and we certainly don't have the manpower we need to go in, gun-handed down there.
It depends on how populated the planet is. They didn't have a high port, right? We didn't see a high port.
Nope,
Right.
you saw a down port.
Yeah, so with the fact that we have rods from God, right? We would kind of dictate that situation. But it's right. It's like, sure, we attack one ship to get through this. Do we attack 4 ships and kill a bunch of people on the planet's surface?
Because then we're pretty much just becoming straight up fucking pirates.
Pirates.
Yeah.
And not the fun romantic kind.
No.
Or the mass murdering raiding
more
kind.
the mass murdering planetary bombardment kind.
I mean, if you're all Vargar, this would be an easy solution. You just do that. Screw it.
One last Hail Mary before we fuel and get out of here. Can I communicate to them? I have 200 tons of cargo capacity and valuable trade and a valuable trading currency.
Oh wait, Cassian, tell them I'm on board. Maybe they know me.
Why
Maybe
would they
they'll
know
let me-
you?
I don't know.
Why
Maybe
wouldn't
they'll-
they?
Yeah, why wouldn't they? I'm a famous guy.
They don't even know the Darians exist.
Well, you don't know that. They knew they started broadcasting in multiple languages, so they know other polities are out there.
Yeah, they rotated through frequencies.
Yeah, we told them we were an Imperial-backed shipping company, and they didn't care.
Yeah.
Well, just throw it out there that I'm on board. Maybe they know me.
Okay, I'll say, right, as a last-ditch effort, we would like to engage in economic activity before leaving, if possible, and Calvir Trissani wants to notify you that he's on board.
Give me persuade, 3 dice. You're appealing to payment. Honestly, they can possibly make money in this exchange. Free trading's free trading. Doesn't matter who's doing it. So 6. I doubt you're being particularly flattering, polite, or begging, so I don't know if you get the inferiority bonus.
We're similarity, aren't we?
They have greater number of ships. From their perspective, they see you as a single ship against a fleet.
Gross tonnage, though, we're pretty close. It's 800. It's 1,600 tons to 1,100 tons.
So that's 6. I'll give you +3 because you have been pretty brazen this entire encounter. So 9 on 3d6. So Calcian is a rogue. Does that mean his parents died tragically in a fire when a dragon attacked? No. This guy did orchestrated a massive music entertainment scheme that robbed a country during war or interstellar
What?
power.
Nothing.
This has definitely come up already. This is not the first time that
Not
you've had a
the
chance
first
to
time.
learn about this.
It's the first time
he's-
I've been
he's-
around when it happened.
He's
No.
like the LimeWire Napster guy. This is who he was during the war.
He engaged in a bit of tomfoolery. That was it.
During wartime that made millions suffer. And got a knighthood out of it.
I mean, okay, it made millions suffer in the sense that they didn't get the 100% patriotic music. They got like crappy, cheap music. Right?
You're gonna lose the war. Everything is pointless. The Aesir are a lie.
This is why Tarvin's orbital bombardments were so successful.
YGI, this is Tokyo Road.
Not that kind of radio.
But yeah, I think you hit your number.
Yeah, maybe I've just been annoying enough to keep pestering them that they've decided.
He
Maybe.
must be a merchant.
Yeah.
That you get an acknowledgement ping that you sent a message, and then you start refueling, and you're getting the sense of, well, that was a waste of time. And then you get a ping of stand by, forwarding new message, new contact.
Okay.
Calcium, did you tell them I'm on board?
Yeah, I said the Lord High Admiral Calver Trusani wishes to speak with you.
Oh, good. Maybe they've read my papers.
They haven't said they know a Trusani.
Not yet, anyway.
They haven't said they haven't.
Exactly.
I don't think, if they know you, I don't think we want to know them, because we've only met one group of people who knew who you were, and they were bad people.
They were acquaintances. Not like a real.
Also, acquaintances that want to kill us.
It's not like I really knew them. Not really.
Sorry, I have to figure out who it is that's calling you. Because I didn't know if I did at the way you guys were going. I wasn't sure you were gonna even hit the damn persuade roll. Like, I'm not looking this up if they don't want to talk to you.
What's your name?
Who's your daddy? Is he rich? Is he rich like me?
That's pretty much exactly what we were asking, though.
Oh, doy. Rolled right by it. Oh. You get connected, and you hear a what it sounds like what sort of sounds like a jingle. You hear some words in languages you don't know because you're not from this planet, but eventually it gets to Anglic. Greetings from the Interstellar Trade Organization and Excise Office. of Ostrova. I am led to believe through our space forces that you are a trading vessel of some variety.
We're a shipping vessel. Yes.
Don't get too picky at this point, bro.
Ah, man.
Could you please provide a mission code so I can verify what sort of trade we may be willing to facilitate?
That's why I didn't want to get too specific, because the last part of our mission code is not trader. I mean, I already provided it. The naval ship's already.
Yeah.
He seems to be asking you. It's almost
Oh.
like he doesn't trust the Navy.
Then I forward the mission code, which is a fast armored battle beagle trader cruiser.
There's trader in there. It'd be fine.
Trader was one of the words.
It was definitely one of the words.
And you identify yourself as a vessel of the Third Imperium?
No, we identify ourselves as a corporate vessel registered with the Third Empire.
That is what I suspected.
Is that good or bad?
Well, on behalf of Ostrova, we are willing to accept your docking at our particular downport facility and engage in any legal and profitable trade that you believe would be of benefit to your corporation and Ostrova. We're also willing to facilitate trade with other organizations on this planet, should you feel the need to trade with other inferior organizations.
Huh. Maybe they don't know me after all.
Yeah, I'll
That's the
say
upshot.
Lat VG and Calvir Trusani, thank you, and I hope to engage in profitable commerce with you.
You're authorized to go to docking number 143.
All right. I send that information to Tarvin.
All right, I'll head over there.
And you notice that without a word, the ships that were harassing you break off and seem to go into a patrol pattern. Actually, they start hanging around. They start heading out to where the jump point is and hanging around there for a bit. Well, at least where the flashpoint was.
Are the thing that came from there.
But make sure there's nothing else there. Maybe there's more of you.
Maybe we're the thin end of an invasion. How can they know?
I mean, kind of, in the sense that the company might want to do some megacorp things and start hostily acquiring their planet.
Us? Never. Be silly.
I'll write that down in Kelsey's note. Found hostile acquisitions department.
And I need to grab this. Then this. And then this. Whoa. Thanks, computer. No, that's good. Thanks. No, please stop helping. Thank you. As you approach the tiny planet, this thing is less than half the size of Earth, to give you an idea how big it is. Sensors indicate that this place has no atmosphere, minimal water, and small pockets of civilization peppered across the planet. Once you enter orbit of the planet, you are informed as from the. It's on the same channel that the Astroka basically contacted you on. Wait, Astrova, sorry, mixing up things. You get basically a message to spacers message, which gives you a rough idea of two things: the government and the laws of the planet. First off, you're informed that this is a balkanized world, as in there are a variety of different ethnic and linguistic and religious groups on this planet. The only unified force is the United Space Fleet that defends the entirety of the planet and the star system. And the law level is 11, which means that if you wish to go from any one place to another, you do need a passport to travel from one part of the world to the other. The starport's the only exception, where it is the sort of unified voice to the. It's basically a United Space Fleet port that talks to aliens and trades with passersby. But if you want to go to any particular place, you need to actually apply for a passport to go into their claimed territory.
Sounds like a nice place.
As you approach the starport, you learn that the starport is actually, despite being just a downport, it is a Class A port.
Oh, man.
Dang. Okay.
Capable of building starships, do full overhauls. They have various fuel sources, and you now realize why they really can't build battleship class ships, because they have a downport, not a high port. You need a high port to build battlecruiser class.
You can't get them out of atmosphere.
Yeah. And at this point, you're starting to see a lot more like various vehicles, like sensors detect type of vehicles would be, like grav vehicles and like basically hover vehicles and stuff moving around. But it's a large port, and basically every culture group and nation state has its own bank of ports, and the port, you're told, belongs to that particular organization, this particular faction of the planet of Astrova. Like, that belongs to them.
Any of the communications indicate whether there's a TAS lounge here?
There is. Not, because TS don't know about this place.
Okay.
I was about to say.
I was
there
like, how is
we
this
would know a
not
lot
marked
more,
on the
right?
map then? Hang on.
Though with a port like this is the sort of TS, when they go to a new place, they like trying to find out if it's at least Class A or B, because that's a good way to introduce yourself to a new polity. Class C and lower, it's like, is it really worth having a TAS lounge here?
So I smell profit in telling the TAS about this.
Yep.
Then yeah, let's go in for a landing.
Okie dokie.
I think things turned out better than if we had used the Meson gun.
Probably.
Maybe just a wee
I
bit.
won't say it turned out as exciting,
You
but
know,
it definitely turned out better.
yeah, you think when he gets rid of the armored tank guy walking around with all the bristly weapons that the threat level goes down, but it never does. It never does.
I think you just gotta name drop me more often, bro.
I
Seems
think
to
we're
work.
just going to start calling things threat level Winchester.
I mean, the ship is definitely built for it.
It's true, but
Mhm.
So yeah, you're able to find land at the port on the ground. Basically, you see these massive. There's the Sar town next to the massive runways where various ships are taking off and landing and so on. You're directed to land on a particular runway and then head off to the ports that are for that particular company. And because they are a trading company rather than trading nation state, if you will, they are much closer to the Star Town than, say, the shipyards or the repair yards or the local military installation, because that's not their concern. They're not worried about having. They bought the place that lets them trade faster.
Yeah, I think we just land at the actual port because we don't use landing wheels.
Yep.
We
So
just use lifters.
You just lift over to it, and you get directed by the star control, like, hey, go here, land at this area,
Okay.
avoid this thing. That guy's landing. Watch out for him. You know, you basically
Right.
given a live update the whole way. And given that it's Class A, even though it's an unfamiliar planet with unfamiliar rules, it's fairly straightforward. The tech level 12 is not that hard for you to understand. It's a little antiquated compared to what you're used to, but you know, some places in the Imperium are tech 12. You run into them.
Okay. All
And you-
right, land and secure the ship.
And with that, I think we'll end it. That particular bit of tension that winded down away from what was going to be an interstellar conflict and the beginning of a war between the Darien Confederation and this space fleet. Well, it'd technically be with the Imperium, but it'd be a bit of an incident. An interstellar incident, but it turned out all right. You're able to land, and you're going to be meeting new aliens next time. Yeah. Although all of you who are watching, thank you very much for watching. Those of you playing, thank you very much for playing, and we'll see you all next week.